Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and Bigs and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan "Start 'em young" to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and Bigs. Save some money and gear up now. Alrighty, guys, how we doing this Tuesday morning? It's Jigs and Bigs. I got Bobby Roast Beef. That's me. I got Sean the Fisherman with me. We have, we've been saying it for a few weeks now that spring is on the way. Spring is on the way. Spring is here. Spring has sprung. The crocuses are starting to show up in my backyard over here. That's always a good sign. Got out and did some fishing. Sean did some fishing. Everybody's on the board. But so many people are out there catching fish. The water is still a little bit chilly locally, but man, I'll tell you what, I think the bass are fired up to eat some baits. Really, really excited about things coming up. Today's show, we have some good stuff for you guys. We're going to talk about, we're going to weigh in on something that's pretty cool. Mike IKE had recently done a live stream for 3 rods that every angler should carry. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, give our feedback on it. We're also going to talk about using the right setups for the right application and what it really means for you and a good day on the water. We're also going to be talking about, we're going to talk about the importance of PFDs and being safe out there on the water. Plus, we got a whole lot more in the interview seat this week. We've got Joel Melendez, Hookset Hoodlums Pro Staffer himself, Brutus 17. Guys, we got a good one lined up for you. Don't go too far. Get yourself a nice, tasty beverage, and we'll be back right after this. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Rodney? Rodney's already in here. Nice, bright and early. He's an early riser anyway, though. He goes by farmer time. So he's up and ready to go. Rodney, how are we doing this morning, dude? Hope everything is good. Sean, how are you this morning?
All right, man. We got fish biting.
Yeah.
We both proved that this weekend. We got some fish. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So this weekend, this weekend was actually, before we jump into that, I want to make mention some of our Patreon viewers right now that, like I've mentioned previously, we're recording this for the podcast right now, but we are streaming it live to YouTube for our Patreon members, our jig heads, so that they can engage with us and do everything else. This morning when I got set up, I noticed on the software we use to stream, it was giving me an indication that there was low internet connectivity, and I've done everything possible to try to streamline that and improve it. Did a restart. We set everything up. This is on my service provider's end, so there's unfortunately nothing that I can do about it. I figured I'd reference it right off the top, and then we'll go ahead and go for it. This should not affect the podcast whatsoever because we're recording that locally in-house, and then I'll process the audio and do the upload later. So all should be well for the podcast, but awesome. So let's talk fishing. Now, Sean, you had a little bit greater of a weekend lined up. I had small pockets where I was jumping out. I had one, big chunk on Saturday, and I had gone out and gotten skunked all around that. Otherwise just trying to get out there and fish as much as possible. Why don't we jump into your weekend? Because you had a bunch of stuff involved, a little bit of a road trip. You were out on the kayaks. You brought who did you bring Brody with you?
Yeah, I brought my youngest son.
That's all. So yeah, for you, this was like a family involved the kids. Like, let's start with your weekend.
Well, Friday afternoon, it was nice out before the wind picked up.
Yep.
So I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. Last week, I knocked out 2 major projects. So I've been really quiet on the on the fishing front up until Friday. Just for shits and grins, the 2 projects that I knocked out. When we moved into the house, when the painting got done, I didn't paint the door frames immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then the those what the fuck are they? The door sweeps underneath the door that keeps the breeze out. Those things finally worn down, and it was time to take all the doors off their hinges on the first floor, repaint all that shit. That ended up taking me a couple days with the paint drying, applying the second coat, all that fun shit.
Yep.
And then there was a hardware snafu that was on my end, so I had to fix that, and it's done. So the doors are all happy. The wife is happy with that. And then the other project that took me a little bit of time was, did I mention it last week with making the ballasts in my floats under my docks?
For the docks. I don't know if you mentioned the ballast specifically, but you did mention the docks.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be real quick. I swapped my my floats out under my docks last year, and instead of having the square ones, the black square ones that can get caught in the ice and get crushed, I found that you can actually leave the docks with 55-gallon polyethylene barrels in the water year round, and they just never get really trapped by the ice. So I said, all right, that's cool. I swapped them over. I got a bunch of them cheap from somebody who was selling them on Craigslist a couple years ago, put them all into the docks. The problem is each one of those barrels can hold up like 400 pounds. I have 4 under each section of dock. I have 3 sections of dock, and you've been out of that dock. You walk out there after the first one, you're in a fun house. Like the ground is liquid. So
yeah, yes.
And the way the hinges are, that just didn't lend itself to stability with those floats underneath. So I got cute. I ran it by our buddy Brock, who is a professional dock worker, and I drilled some holes. Yeah, dock guy. That's right. I drilled some holes in the top, 1 hole in the top of every barrel. I put a 22-gallon bin on the docks, and I pumped 22 gallons of water out of the lake into the bin, and then pumped the 22 gallons of the bin right into each barrel. So each barrel now has 22 gallons to act as like a ballast on a ship.
Yep.
And the dock is incredibly stable. I still have to put some anchors down, but that's the easy part.
That's awesome.
So
nice.
Yeah, it took me a while, time consuming. I had a pump, but still takes a while. So yeah, that was that. Friday, when all that was done, all of these happy things were done, and my wife was happy and smiling, and I'm smiling. I went out on my lake I dragged one of the kayaks back to the yard and threw in. My lake is pretty barren as far as structure goes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one of my neighbors lost a tree a few years ago, went right into the lake, and it's like a magnet.
Yeah, everything goes to that tree now.
Yeah. Yep. So I pulled 3 bass, all of them, I don't know, I think all of them were under 15 inches out from there, and I had a really good-sized chain pickerel following my jig, but all I brought out there was a jig rod and a jig, and that was it. I didn't bother with anything else. So that was pretty good. There's a second part of that story we're going to get into later when we rant.
Yep.
But I'll leave that on pause for now.
I think that's honestly going to be the bulk of the rant.
What?
It's a good story. I think that your segment there about that the additional story about your lake is going to be the bulk of the rant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a rant. Well, no, it's going to be about 50-50 because there's some stuff that happened on Saturday that.
Oh, that's true too.
Flow right into that.
That's true too.
So Saturday, my youngest said he would come fishing with me, which is great. He doesn't come out all the time. He's not like insanely into it like I was at that age, but that's fine. He's my son. He's not me.
Yeah.
But he'll come out with me every now and again. So we threw both boats. I just took I did not take the Slayer out because we were planning on doing tiny pond hopping. And I said, I'll just bring the Ultimate because it's lighter and quicker, get it in and out. And that'll be that. And plus, I didn't feel I really needed a pedal kayak on those lakes.
Some of those lakes, yeah.
I'm talking some of them. I don't think one of them was even 10 acres. It's tiny. And then the other one was 20 acres. So I was fine with a paddle. So we went to the lake that actually I took you and Nelson to, a little pond out on the Cape. We went out to the Cape, and we did have to stop at Bass Pro Shops, which is something else I could talk about later. That was
all right.
There's there's some lure shortages happening that I had to stop at Bass Pro. Normally I would not have stopped there, but they had what I needed. We got out to the Cape. We stopped up at that little pond that you and I had tried. And as we were unloading, our third member of our party arrived. Nelson stopped in. Nelson was out on the Cape on his own because Nelson found on, I believe, Facebook Marketplace, a 2-year-old native slayer rigged to the gills that he got one hell of a price on.
Yeah, I heard.
So he was all excited. If anybody follows Nelson, who is Finn.horn on Instagram, he's got some videos up of him proudly displaying his new piece of plastic with all the fixins. And we got out of that first lake, and I think out of all three of us, I had one hit. I had a bass. I had a bass take a jig, and he threw the hook before he got to the boat. So yeah, I was like, all right, that's great. We got a bluebird sky day. The wind's picking up the wrong way. It was blowing out of the northeast. So one hit's fine. But because that pond is a little stingier with fish than our second location, I said, well, we'll try that. We should be all right on the second location. So in between, we stopped over at Max Seafood of Chatham and knocked down some food.
Sweet.
Nelson gets he's got a grilled tuna sandwich he likes, and I hit a clams casino pizza, I believe it is. And then Brody knocked down some fish and chips. So we went on our way from there, hit the second lake, and there was already a boat out there, and then a second boat came out. So 5 boats on this place is more than enough. It's a small body of water, but we weren't out there 5 minutes. And Brody, I love when he's trying a new lure and he just has no faith in something. And I'm like, just do this, you'll be all right. So this lake has a ton of ever-present vegetation. Mm-hmm. Even during the winter, the shit's still there. And for whatever reason, these fish like a bass jig there with a craw trailer. So I hooked him up and said, here you go. Just start throwing it around. Do whatever you want. And his preferred tactic was throwing it out, reeling in it slow. I don't know, third cast. Hey, Dad, I got one. 15-inch fish.
Not bad.
I look over and he's learning still. So I haven't gotten him. Like he was a little apprehensive about freeing the fish with the bass jig in its mouth. So I went over there and showed him how to do it. And then while I was doing that, Nelson hooked into one. And then I threw Brody's back, and not even 5 minutes later, he hooked another one. Nelson was ripping fish out left and right. So I'm like, great. Here I am helping out. I'm doing the right thing. Everybody's on fish. Nelson's enjoying his new kayak. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
And then we fished till almost dusk and went home. It's good stuff. I was home by 9:30. We left a little early.
That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Yep. Yeah, it was good times. And then the final adventure I had yesterday was I had about an hour before dusk to just take a fishing rod out of my dock, and in whatever it was, 35 minutes, I had two fish, super nibbler.
Yep.
10 inches tops. I didn't measure them. But I did measure the second fish because I got absolutely thumped in the same spot that I pulled the bass out of. Mm-hmm. And I ended up, grabbing and hauling in a 22.5-inch pickerel, walking through my house with it and measuring it in the garage where the ruler was, because I didn't bring it out with me, which has, that sounds funny, but that's not the first time that has happened.
I believe it. I'm a little surprised that you haven't installed even, you know what, man? Dude, remember when I dumped my yak and I lost my measuring board? And who was it? I forget who it was. There's a Bass Pro. There's a long aluminum measuring board. You should just mount that sucker on your dock.
I should, but I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, this way I'm just thinking. I can imagine. I know the hell I catch for shit in my house when I do stupid stuff. Granted, I mean, there would be a bigger conversation to be had if I was bringing in live fish into the house to measure them, because we're miles away from any water right here. That's a whole other conversation. But even if we lived on some water and I was doing this, I have a very strong feeling that I would be in the doghouse with my wife. Significantly. My
wife is desensitized to it at this point.
You're a lucky man. You're a lucky man. I'm gonna.
I know this.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey,
I know this.
You've earned it, my friend.
So yeah, I mean that was my weekend, man. So I ended up with what, 1, 2, 3 bass of the little lake out on the Cape.
Nice.
Another 3 bass from my pond on Friday, so that's 6, and then 2 more bass on one more bass on the pond at yesterday. And then, I mean, I had some other adventures we'll get into in a bit. But
exactly.
How did you make out? I know you went out too.
So I went out. I don't think I got out on Friday at all. If I did, it was for an extremely short period of time. I don't think I did. I had gone out with the intention of bringing strictly the new arc rods that I've picked up. So I've got a 7-foot medium heavy. I've got a 7.3 medium that I've been using for basically everything with treble hooks. I have a new spinning combo as well. That's it's a medium light that I'm almost. I want to say I'm generally almost exclusively fishing drop shot with, but I've fished Ned rigs with it before, and basically just super, super light stuff is used for that. So I brought those 3 out with me, and this was a lot. I haven't had a fish on the arc rods at all. I love the way, they feel. I love the action it gives, of the various baits I've thrown on them, but this was like, I can remember having a conversation with one of our upcoming guests and saying, look, I gotta, she scheduled an interview right when I was going to be out fishing. And I'm like, I got to get a fish on these new rods so I can figure out, what I think, and as luck would have it, it finally all came together. So I met up with my good buddy Paul, who, first thing in the morning, we got together, met up, and I said, look, let's just go and we'll pond hop. I had gone out, and I had never done this before, and I think this is something I'm going to do again. I started using just the Maps app on my phone. I would go and use Google Earth or whatever I was using and drop a waypoint right in the Maps app. And the reason why I was using that app is it allows me to, because my buddy Paul is also an iPhone user, I was able to take that group of markers and send it right to him. So he could open it up and then know exactly what ponds I was looking at. So there were 3 that we had marked. He made a suggestion there were 4 that I had marked. He made a suggestion for another one. We went out to the one he suggested before, and he caught fish at every single place that we had gone to. No pattern was ever picked up. It was just a single fish, and we weren't able to catch anything else. Even in one instance where he caught one of them on a spinnerbait, I had even tied on a spinnerbait. We were fishing the same part of this one little channel and nothing, not even a nibble. So we couldn't really, say that there was any kind of a pattern per se or anything. Then we headed to our last spot. He hooked up on one, had to really grind for it. We had worked one entire side of this bank of this larger pond in Springfield. Actually, it was the first fish I ever caught in Springfield. And we worked this one bank almost all the way down that was reachable for us, and he had hooked into one. He was quite a ways further down from me. I was working this one lay down with a jig, and I get a text, and it's just a picture of him making a face holding the fish up, and I was like, okay, cool. He's found him. Let's go figure this out. And we fished there for about another 45 minutes. Couldn't get on anything. And then we decided to move down because this area where we were has 3, I think, separate ponds with either different structure in between, fountains, waterfalls, you name it, all different things. So we went to the one in the middle, and I said, we're running a little bit short on time, and this was for him. He had to be back later at some point in the afternoon. I had already made the decision I was not going back into the house until 1, it got too dark to fish, or 2, it was too cold. I had to get on some fish that I knew I was catching fish that day. It was just, that was a fact of life. So we had gone to this one other section, and this was in an area where I'll say this, I think a lot of people gather to feed ducks. There was a lot of park benches and things nearby. So I had gone over and I said, I don't really see a lot there are no laydowns where we can access them. The banks going in were super steep right down to the water's edge. So anything that was, in the water as far as, outside structure, there was nothing. It was basically like a well manicured pond. So I decided, instead of throwing a jerkbait like I had been throwing most of the day in order to find fish, I was instead going to switch gears to a lipless crank. And I threw the lipless out once. And once I realized how shallow it was, I was like, all right, so as soon as this hits the water, I'm going to start moving it. And then burn it and kill it, burn it and kill it, This way I can get a little bit of depth, but then pick it up without picking up any of the snot grass that was on the bottom, And second cast, hooked into a nibbler. About 11 inches.
Nibblers.
Yeah. And what was nice was it was a beautiful day, and this was in a park, and a bunch of people were like around us. And when I started chanting nibblers, I got many looks. But this was also really good, too, because it gave me an opportunity to try out other stuff. So first off, there was the arc rod. When this was the first arc rod I had picked up. It's a Brandon Cobb series rod. It's called the One More. It's a 7.3 medium fast is what it is. And I've got it paired up. I've actually got it paired up with one of my Black Maxes because it's a 6-speed reel. So I'm like, this is kind of nice. And I think I was throwing it on 12-pound fluoro. And not only did I get to test all this stuff out and, finally catch some fish on a lipless, of which I caught 2 others. The next one happened to be the largest of the day. But I also was able to try that angler bullseye to log my fish because I was logging all of these catches as they had, they occurred. And it was really cool just to be like, wow, it's just one button, boom. And then afterwards, all the data is all stored for the time and everything. I can go back and I can get a better idea of what the temperature was at that point, what the wind speeds were. All of this data gets automatically logged in. And it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, this is really, really fantastic. So I ended up with 3. We took off. I dropped him off, celebrated with some iced teas on the way home. And I came home and hung out with the family. This is where I came into the whole train wreck that is the new puppy having her first heat and all that at home. That was a whole other adventure. Saturday night, just kind of chilled with the family, had a great time. Sunday, I had to bring my my oldest over to my sister's house to babysit. So I did attempt to get out and fish on Sunday morning. Fished this one little pond I fished a little bit here and there. Threw around a lipless, threw around a jerkbait, nothing. Ran back and forth, ran some errands, then hit another pond and threw a lipless, a jerkbait, and a jig. Nothing over there, and then I had to just kind of wrap my day because that was about it. I actually had a lot of production to get done yesterday, so managed all that. But it was good. I mean, catching fish, and one of the best things, not only did I catch 3 bass, but I managed to catch some nice shore candy as well. And for those that aren't aware, shore candy is when you hook somebody's line and there's a decent lure attached to it. I found, and perfect timing actually, a red lipless crankbait. I'm fairly certain this is a red eye shad from Strike King. The hooks were rustier than hell. It was covered in a bunch of slop. Cleaned it up, changed out the hooks. All of the split rings were in decent shape, so we'll add that one in there. This kind of makes up for the one that I lost that one time. So not too bad. Pretty good week though overall. And I'll be getting out there today, and I'm looking forward to getting out there also on Wednesday, and then next weekend we'll see how it works. But good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think I have 3 afternoons set up this weekend to fish. If you're out there today, be super careful, especially from the shore, man, because with the wind blowing today, we've got wind gale warnings and all that shit going up. So
that's why I'm thinking today might be a might. I'm not 100% sure.
I saw some big branches come off those trees on Friday into the water, and I was lucky I was in the middle of my pond because I would have been dead.
Yep. No, definitely. So. Nice. I'm very, very excited, man. We've got a lot of good things coming up for this year, and I'm really psyched to get out on the water with my fish finder and start, breaking down some of that. Start trying to find areas that I want to fish where there's, either a brush pile or some decent, cover to work.
Yep. Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah, we have a lot coming up this year.
You really do.
One thing I would like to mention, actually 2 things. I have 2 things I want to mention about stuff coming up. So you and I are in the final leg, and we haven't mentioned it in a while, but the designs are done, and we are going back and forth with the graphics folks that we're using. We don't have a timeline yet, unfortunately, but we have the Sean the Fisherman shirt is coming up.
Yep.
It looks like we may be mixing things up with our merch folks pretty soon. Again, we don't have timelines, but that's something for everyone to keep an eye out. The current store is still open and available, but you know, we'll let everybody know when changes occur.
So we should kind of clarify like what's going on. We are changing over our stores to include a couple of different things. We're basically rolling out to begin with in the new store is that Jigs and Bigs logo line of shirts. But what is new is that we're adding some new colors for those shirts. We're doing long sleeve and short sleeve t-shirts, but we're also doing long sleeve and short sleeve performance shirts as well. So these are SPF treated, they're quick drying. These are ideal for when you're spending long days out of the water and you want to, actually, protect your skin from the sun or, dry quickly should you get wet or sweat like a sow like I do. It all kind of helps you. So there's that stuff coming in. We have a new design with the Sean the Fisherman shirts, and there will be additional shirts getting added to it as well. And what's beautiful about this store is that we're working with a local company. So this is really, really fantastic because they're handling all of the production and shipping things out for us in that sense. And the hats, we will be getting, those will be actually available in two different ways. I'd like to have them available on the store, sort of a just ship on demand way. I also am going to be looking into doing hats like this style, like the trucker hat style from Hooks and Hoodlums like I'm wearing. Something like that, so that when we are doing these events, we can have some hats with us, so that if you're at a tournament or something and you're like, hey, I wanted to get a Jigs and Bigs hat, this way there will be some that you'll be able to pick up. So something, we're working on it. We're getting there.
Yes. The other thing I want to mention is we've also alluded several times, and he's actually introduced the podcast on a couple of episodes.
Yes.
We're sitting down for an interview. You're sitting down for an interview with our intern, Howie.
Oh,
it's been too long. Howie's got a very busy schedule. I don't know what he does. I don't know if he's out in the woods under a rock or something, but we've scheduled an interview with him for the near future, and we're looking very forward to him meeting the world.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all I could say about that.
We're going to leave that there. We'll talk more about the origin story of Howie and, where he's from, because Howie is international, and We'll cover that when the time is right. But you guys have heard a little bit from him here and there. We do have this production intern. It'll be kind of interesting to see what you guys think.
He is an international man of mystery is what he is right now.
He really is. And, I don't know if he realizes this or not, but we're about to blow up his spot in a big way.
Yeah. Yeah. Howie's here. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves for Howie.
Oh, goodness.
So let's get this out of the way, man.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just do it. I'm getting sick of ranting about this, but
I think we could probably say effectively, like, we're obviously not going to change the world. You can lead a horse to water. So this will probably be the last time we harp on this point on this show. Go for it.
3 words. Fucking life vests. Every day I fished this weekend, I was the only person, and obviously Nelson and my son, we were the only people that had life vests on. Now, out on the Cape, I'm willing to give some credit because the water temps were over 50 on the surface. Now, I know it's colder underneath, and it was over 65, so the rule of 120 was probably bypassed. I'll give that. But nobody was wearing life vests. Nobody. Yeah. So, Nelson and I were talking about it, and I've thought about this in the past. I mean, my concern is if I'm wearing a life vest, I mean, I can swim. I swim every week. I go to the gym and swim. But, I'm a big fat guy, and I'm old. And I'm right in that perfect fat old guy heart attack category or stroke category. If I go into the water after having a heart attack or stroke, I don't want to go to Davy Jones' locker. I'd like to float around. That's my take on it. If a branch hits me from a windstorm
and it knocks you out,
I want to be found alive, not found dead.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of swimming, folks. And it's the law. I don't know why this is such a problem. People aren't wearing life vests. And there's plenty of life vests out there that are comfortable.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I'm sick of ranting about it. People are probably sick of hearing about it.
I'm sure that they are.
I get nothing out of this other than people not dying that are fishermen. What the fuck?
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with you. You gotta be safe, and that's exactly it. A lot of people aren't thinking about the oh shit what ifs. You know, like if something happens to you and you're not able to swim, because it isn't about like not knowing how to swim. Let's be honest. Even if you don't know how to swim, a lot of times your basic like instincts to stay afloat will come into play. But what about the panic? You know, like you get into some water that's that cold and your body just shocks right away. Like there's a second there where you're not really in control, you know? And that second could be the deciding factor on whether or not you're taking water into your lungs or not. And ideally, like that's what the PFD is for, is to keep your head above water. You know, that's its only job.
Yeah.
You know?
I just wish.
Do you have any idea, Sean, what the fine is if you're for a citation? If you're found without a PFD on, you know, by game warden or anything like that?
I don't. I never paid attention to it because I just wear my life vest. But
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure we could find out if we hang around the Connecticut River Oxbow a little while. Sounds like the game wardens there know where their targets are.
You know what? Oh, that might be a fun little segment. Maybe we should just take, you know, like a little cooler with some beverages and a couple of lawn chairs and that portable microphone recorder and sit there and wait until the DCR shows up and, you know, starts issuing citations and just say like, oh, we'd like a little bit of feedback. So what'd you get cited for? What was the issue? Oh, and we can have like dumbass of the week, you know, like its own special little segment, like,
it'll be like the, you know, with the field reporters for the NFL when the losing quarterback's walking off the field. They're like, well, what happened today?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got sacked 8 times. Well, I decided not to wear my life preserver, and the DCR was right there, and I still didn't give a fuck. And I got fined $500 because I'm an idiot.
I mean,
okay, better luck next week.
That's the whole, like, could you imagine if the fine was that high? But like, let's say it's reasonable. Let's say it's like $50. Why not just spend that $50 and get yourself a PFD? You know, and exactly. What passes for a PFD to keep you legal is staggering. You know, like it doesn't take much.
I think it's actually written in there. Believe it or not, I don't know the fine, but I think it's written in there that it's like one of the wearable Coast Guard approved ones.
Yeah.
So if you look inside each vest, there's a sticker on there with all the safety requirements they have to put in there. Go ahead and read that and read the laws. I don't know. I just don't want people to die, man. Like that's it. Like we go out and fish and have a good time and don't die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. That's all I have.
What can we do?
We can't beat this horse anymore.
We can't.
It's fucking common sense.
Let's move on.
And the law.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Andy jumping in here with some gold. He says the other fine is your life. Exactly. You know. But like, even if you live, you know, I mean, and you get whatever the citation is, isn't that money better spent in just having a PFD and then not worrying about it at all?
Yeah.
Is that easy? I don't know. Next.
All right. Yeah. Let's go. Let's move on. So, do you want to hit the Ike stuff now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this. So everybody knows Mike Iaconelli. He's probably one of the most recognizable faces in professional bass fishing out there. He's no stranger to YouTube. He's no stranger to a lot of these different social platforms and everything. He's everywhere. So Mike offers a wealth of information, and I happen to see that there was a suggested video that was the 3 rod and reel combos that every angler should have. And you've seen videos like this before. People say, oh, the top 5, combos that every angler needs, and there's a lot of people that the idea of minimizing what they're carrying is a very attractive thing to them because they're able to do more with less. And, whether you're pond hopping or you're a kayak angler or you have a really small boat or, maybe you have a huge boat, but you have a ton of different people on there all the time and your space is limited to what you're actually able to carry. You start adding combo after combo and it can get a little bit tedious. So he put together this list and I'm going to go ahead and defer because I forget the sizes and the specs that he listed exactly. Sean, do you know these off the top of your head?
I'm a slacker on this. I got 2/3 of the way through that video, so I've got the first 2 combos down, dead nuts. If you could want to, while I'm talking, I can talk a little bit about them, and you can look up the third one. What do you say?
Go for it. Actually, I think is the spinning combo the third one.
I'm sorry.
Was the spinning combo the third one?
No, spinning was the second.
The second one? Then I know what the third one is. I
Okay.
remember what the third one is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Why don't you start then?
So, well, actually, I'll tell you. I'm gonna start with the first bait caster. That's what I'll start with. So, this is one, and what I'll say is this is what Ike suggests. I agree a lot with what he says, though the lengths of the rods. And even the gear ratios for the reels, that I tend to think has a little bit more to do with the preferences of the angler, like what they're necessarily looking for. Like the lengths of the rods, for instance, your height may be a factor, something like that. So just keep that in mind. But Ike suggests for like the all-around workhorse rod, a 7, what was it, a 7.3 or a 7.4?
7.4.
It was a 7.4 medium heavy fast action rod with a fast reel. When he's saying a fast reel, he's talking about like that like an 8-speed reel, like something really, really quick. This is the workhorse, and the idea is that you're pretty much going to throw almost everything on here that has a weight of a quarter ounce and up. That's the idea. That's sort of the defining factor there. So it's a quarter ounce and up right there. Now, what's funny is that I often use a very similar rod for that, though I use a 7-foot instead of a 7.4. That extra 4 inches does give you a little bit more distance for casting, especially if you're a beginner and you want to use that as your advantage. But if, like I said, if you're a little bit short, if maybe you use like jerk bait, something where you need be a little bit more aware of smacking the tip up against the bank or the side of your boat or something, maybe a shorter rod would be better for you, but that's up to you. So that's what he says. That's like your workhorse, and that quarter ounce mark for weight and up is what you're going to be throwing. The second rod is a spinning combo, and that's I want to say it was a 7-foot medium, right?
7-foot medium fast. Yep.
7-foot medium fast. And essentially what you're going to do here is, and he even made the suggestion that you want as fast a gear ratio with a spinning reel as you can find. And generally, you're probably going to find that tops out at like a 6. Usually, most spinning reels are going to be about a 5-speed reel. A 6 is about where it's going to top out. That's still pretty good. What's nice about that is you're going to focus on things a quarter ounce and less, and you can spool that up with braid, and that'll give you the ability to fish, some of your topwater stuff. You can do, all your drop shots with that. You can do, Ned rigs. You can do, super light lures. That's the idea. So you have those two there that kind of cover you all around. But the third one is one that I would have never even considered until it was just actually this last winter that I had looked into. And the job for this rod is for treble hooks. That's the idea. For treble hooked baits, basically you want something you can crank with. So this was I think this one was a 7-foot medium glass rod. Is what he had suggested. And what you want is a moderate tip on this one. And the idea is that it's a little bit more whippy, so there's a little bit more flex. But the reason why that comes into play with your treble hook baits is because it doesn't have so much stiff backbone as a medium heavy does. It sort of helps keep that fish pinned on the treble hooks that way, because it creates this sort of tension. So you use that, and you want a slightly slower reel. I think he said a 6 or maybe even a 5 for that one. Am I right with that one, Sean?
Well, that's the one I didn't catch.
That's one. I think that's what it was. I think he said like a 6 or a 5, and that's the idea. So you have the general breakdown is you have two rods that the separation is the weight that you're throwing. A quarter ounce and up, you throw it on your bait caster. A quarter ounce below, you throw it on that spinning combo. And then for all of your treble hook baits, you're basically throwing your crank baits, your jerk baits, all that stuff. You're going to throw that on that second bait caster with the moderate action. That's the whole idea. So that's the gist of it. And what I thought was kind of interesting is, and I've been mentioning these ARC Cobb series rods. That's almost some slight differences. That's almost exactly what I'm bringing out now for the last handfuls of trips. I've got a 7.3 medium. I've got a 7-foot medium heavy, both bait casters. I've got a 7-speed reel on that medium heavy, and then I've got a 6 on the medium, and then on the spinning combo, I actually lightened that up a little bit. I went with the Cobb Series Fairy Wand, which is a 7.3 medium light, and it is the most sensitive spinning rod I've ever used. It is amazing. I love this thing. Like drop shots, like this, you can really, really tell, like using tungsten weights and things. It's basically like it's talking to you, like what kind of structures you're going over under the surface. It's amazing. So, and I saw this and I was just like, yeah, that's really for most anglers, I think you're talking like 90% of what you would possibly be throwing, you could throw on those rods. Generally speaking. Yeah. Are you going to throw like a 9 or 10 inch glide bait on anything like that? Nope. Are you going to throw the BBZ Rat, 40 or 50? Nope. Not something you're going to want to do. Ideal for frogging? Not ideal for frogging. But you could do it on that medium heavy,
Yep.
I think that's sort of the gist, is that it's not necessarily perfect, which kind of leads into like the next discussion that we wanted to have. Like, what is it about having the ideal setups for different presentations? Why is that important,
I mean, for me, it always comes back to the right tool for the job. Like I love this analogy. I can't remember if I heard it somewhere, if I made it up. I might give myself credit for making it up, but it's a lot easier to hammer in nails with a hammer than a screwdriver.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, I mean, with Ike stuff, I have absolutely nothing to disagree with on there. That's
yeah.
It sounds like 100%. It sounds like there's always going to be a little, some differences with tweaking, but no, dude, that guy's incredibly smart and he knows what he's talking about. That's perfect. That's a good guide to go off of.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I have mine split up with 5 rods, and it's a little more specialized to what I do, not to what, to every technique out there, but to what I do. So I'm pretty close to that. It's not, I don't think it's worth the while saying what my differences are. He's got that right. If anybody's looking to, really cover all their ground and only carry a minimal amount of rods, that is a really, really good thing. A really good video that he popped up there. So check it out.
Yeah, it is. It's really good stuff. I'll say this, like I have, those 3 rods, that's basically what I want to carry when I'm bank fishing, or checking new water, or is something where I know for sure I'm not going to need like something super heavy in advance. I've got rods that are for that. I've got two 7.6 heavies, one spooled with braid so that I can throw a frog and make that work with no problem. Then I've got another one, a 7.6 heavy, that's for heavy jigs, flipping into heavy covers, stuff like that. Like, it's not saying that you're only going to need 3 rods for the rest of your life, but those 3 are a great place to start. And if you have to scale down for whatever reason, those 3 would be a great 3 to choose to have on hand.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that medium heavy, that all-purpose rod, that one, I mean, he even says it in the video. Rig it with whatever you want. If it's braid, you're out there, you can use it for fishing with braid.
Yep.
Fluorocarbon, braid with a fluorocarbon tip, whatever you got to do. So yeah, I did really like that video. He's dead on and definitely a good guide for any anglers looking to I don't know, should we say minimize their amount of rods they're bringing out and go minimalist? That's definitely a good video to watch. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't go straight off of his guideline, tailor it to your needs, just like anything else.
Yeah.
Tailor it.
Yeah, because that's the other thing too. It's what might be perfect for you might not be perfect for everybody else. And, a lot of this stuff is just based on suggestion, but there are things that, I find when people talk about using the right setups, they often go to the extremes and they're like, oh, well, you're not going to throw like, a giant, glide bait on an ultralight combo. Obviously not. You know, I mean, obviously not. You could try, but I mean, that I think is the most sort of extreme kind of setup that you can go. Like that just, it does not make any kind of sense. But I'll tell you, like, I have tried to cast a 190 whopper plopper on a medium heavy rod. Would not advise. You know, it's just a little bit too. It makes me nervous loading that up with such a heavy bait, and that's the thing. On the specs for your combos, you got to be aware of what the threshold of the lure weight is above anything else. You know, that lure weight is going to tell you what's too much for that rod, because that's a lot of force, especially when you're, you know, when you're loading it up with something like that, and that weight pulls back, and then you're snapping it forward with so much force. You know, that's a whole lot of abuse on a rod that may not be set up and designed for that usage.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it's yeah, that's what the ratings are there for.
Yep.
Follow your ratings and figure out what lures you're using. And might I recommend, you know, keeping a notebook on what you're catching fish with.
Yeah.
Every fish, and then maybe parlaying it into a database, using the app that Bobby's using. Tracking your own data is going to tell you what you're doing and just being honest about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's true. It'll help you in the long run. You know, you figure out what it is that you're using, and you know, nobody says you have to go and do all this stuff all at once, you know, and like, oh, I'm going to replace, you know, 7 rods because Mike, Ike, and Ellie said, you know, this is what I'll give you a good example, actually. So last fall was the first fall I started throwing topwater walking baits, and those were. There were a couple of different models, but when Sean was giving me his sort of like input of the setups to throw, you know, when he's throwing these on heavy rods, basically like frogging rods, right, Sean? And what I noticed was I actually had a great sort of reaction as far as the action and getting what I was looking for out of those walking baits on the surface of the water. But one thing that I did notice was that though I might get huge blowups, it was a little bit too responsive. So for me, I might want something that's got a little bit more tip than some of the stuff that Sean's using. And that's the beauty of it. Like, that's where the art comes in. You know, like, you've got recommended, you know, suggestions of things that you should use for different presentations, but there is wiggle room in there, and you can kind of, you know, play around with some things and dial them in to what you need. So, you know, I may be looking to change up rods specifically for, you know, maybe I'll be throwing, you know, buzz baits on this one rod, but, you know, when it comes to anything that's got like a walking action or even poppers, something like that, I might throw it on a specific topwater rod that's got, you know, this. But again, you need to know about the water you're fishing beforehand, and that gets down to preparation, you know, whether it's asking somebody before, like, hey, so, you know, I could bring this rod and throw, you know, a Zara Spook all day long, but it might not be the jam necessarily long term. You know, it might be too many pads. There might not be enough of the ideal setting for that. You know, I might get hung up all over the place for it. It might not be the best topwater lure to use. So you might want to change things up and say, well, screw it, I'm going to have a frog. And that could be a completely different setup that you make sure to have with you. You know, it just gets down to, you got to kind of play around with some things. Roadkill Nick jumps in here with a comment, and I want to kind of call attention to this because he mentioned something interesting. He says he did some math on the toilet again, and this next episode, if it's over 2.5 hours, you'll hit your 100,000 hour mark. This next episode will probably be over 2.5 hours, I think.
100,000? We've been talking for 100,000 hours?
I don't think so. I think that's wrong. I mean, quick math, maybe it was
10,000?
I think maybe 1,000. I don't know. That seems like a lot because we're only about 50 episodes in. 52 actually in like a week.
So 52 episodes times, let's say the max is 3 hours of our episodes, right?
Yeah.
That's it's 156.
Oh, there we go. 100-hour mark. 100-hour mark, he says.
Nick, what the fuck are you doing out there in Illinois?
That's what we call toilet math. It's okay. That's toilet math right there. It's all right.
That's what I've heard about the Illinois public education system. So I guess that's where we're at.
Oh, goodness. Man, this is freaking bananas. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So using the right gear is important. You know, I've had friends of mine that I will, you know, they'll jump in and you know, I'll have conversations and say, hey, so what are you throwing? And, you know, I'll hear them say like, oh, I have the worst problems with this. I'm getting all these backlashes and, you know, I'm having the worst experience with this. And I'm like, well, what's it rigged on? And lots of times it's not the anywhere near the right sort of setup. And, you know, either it's, you know, things just need to be changed one way or the other. And like I say it all the time, like fishing is as much a science as it is an art. But it's like just because you lean one way or the other doesn't mean that the other side doesn't have value that needs to weigh in. So these kinds of things are important. So that's why when people talk about that, like, oh, so, you know, I want to get into bait casting. What's the rod? What's the rod I should start with as far as getting into bait casting? What should I look for? And 9 out of 10 times, everybody's going to tell you the same thing. A 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod. It'll throw like 85% of what you have in your tackle box with no problem whatsoever. The second rod that you should go and get after that is a decent spinning rod. Like that would be like the best sort of position that you could be in right there. Just start there. And then from there, everything that you add has a little bit more of a fine-tuned job. You know, it has something that it's doing specifically. This one's for crankbaits. This one's for a frog. This one's for, you know, flipping super heavy cover. This, you know, all kinds of stuff. Just stuff you got to factor in there.
Exactly. I mean, like this year will be the first time I'm carrying 5 rods with me in 2 or 3 years. And before that, I actually had a double up rod. I had two of those bait casters that were rigged exactly the same. So 7-foot medium heavies, both with slow reels because I like slow reels. That's where my, you know, taste and experience and artwork, so to speak, come in. But yeah, I got away from that, and once I really got into jigging and kind of substituted. Well, kind of actually, I got rid of that second rod. And then this year, after trying last year to switch spools on a spinning rod, it was too time consuming while I'm on the water, especially during tournaments. So I just have a second spinning combo, one with one, you know, they're identical, but one with 10-pound monofilament for top water stuff, like finesse top water that I like throwing, and the other one with 10-pound fluorocarbon on it for Ned rigs. Dare I say I might experiment a little bit with drop shotting this year, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, smaller stuff. So they're 2 specialized rods that I'm happy with. I
will say this: in regards to downsizing, you got to do what you're comfortable with. I've heard, you know, obviously it would be great if you could store all of the combos that you need in order to be able to get out on the water and have an amazing day. But, you know, let's be honest. Let's look at a kayak situation. You only have X amount of rod holders that you've got at your, you know, at your reach. You start putting them in too many different areas, and then rods can be difficult to access, and that's part of it, you know. There's the alternative, the alternate way of looking at it, where I had heard that there's anglers out there that'll have X amount of rod combos, and then they'll have like a reel bag, like a bag that has different reels that are spooled with different things and labels on them, and that, you know, so maybe that, you know, 7-foot, maybe that extra heavy rod that they're using, or that heavy rod that they're using for a frog that's normally got a reel that's got 50 or 65 pound braid on it for that job. If they need that to do, like, to flip, you know, into super heavy cover, you know, up against some like super thick mats or something like that, you know, with like a 1 ounce tungsten weight or something, and they aren't looking to throw, you know, straight braid for whatever reason, you know, and maybe they don't want to tie on a leader. That's another thing too. There's the other element of it too. Like the easiest thing to do would be to tie a great leader with an awesome knot and then throw that sucker wherever you need to go. But then you're talking about throwing braid on basically everything. And that's not necessarily for everybody. Some people love it. Some people love it, you know, and I'm on the fence. And there's people like me that are on the fence that could take it or leave it, you know. I'm a believer in my leader knots, but at the same time, you know, I also know that like sometimes throwing braid means you're throwing a saw into a situation that can get you stuck in the worst possible ways. And, so maybe there's somebody who might want to throw on a different reel that's got, 20-pound fluoro on there, and they're just going to change out the entire reel and then pop that in a bag, make a switch, and do it that way. Is that something you want to play with while you're on a kayak and potentially lose? Oh, snap. There's that $300 Shimano reel. Bye. Nothing floats on it, You don't want to have that be the situation either. So it's like you got to kind of figure out what works for you and go with it. Like I said, it's like you just gotta. It's a game, It really is. It's like chess.
Yep, and I understand. After we talked with Cody, I think last week down in Maryland, he had mentioned that he keeps extra spools for bait casters, which I've never heard anybody doing. So that's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to for me, is the time it takes to swap a spool or a reel out.
Yes.
And in tournaments, I've been under that gun, and I don't like taking that time. So 5 is good. I'm happy with 5 where I'm at, and let's see how this season rolls. You know.
Nice. So, now we got a comment coming in here. Gave it a go this weekend. What do you guys recommend for this time of the year? I tried jigs and chatterbait, no dice.
I've caught all my fish this year have been on jigs, and I got one on a lipless crankbait the other day. But everything's been on jigs for me. Yeah,
I know that, jigs in all forms work. Generally they're ideal in a lot of situations. The first fish I got on was on a swinging football head jig with a soft plastic, a big fluke is what was on that. And that worked great. And I was fishing that almost like a lipless, like kind of like just dragging it along the bottom, and that worked out well. And then every other fish I caught so far this year was on a lipless, on a Bill Lewis rattle trap, natural with a little bit of flash, just like did the job. So it's sometimes they're finicky, but there are people this time of year that swear on chatterbaits up and down, and it is a little bit cold too. With that said, I mean, depending on, I'm not sure. Oh no, 413 Sporting, I know exactly where you're at. You're in our area. So the water is still a little bit cold. I did notice that. Even in our area, Hampden County seems to produce better than Hampshire County. Found that out the hard way on Saturday. And if you're in the Berkshires, I know that Mitch Skase, lip gripper, had like a 20-fish day on Saturday. Killer day. But again, I think some of the hill towns in the Berkshires, maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, for sure, they were still iced up. So it's really cold. But I would say, for finding fish, I would suggest a jerkbait, to be perfectly honest. With the cold temperatures, my brain says to throw a jerkbait. I've had lots of follows on jerkbaits. This weekend, my buddy Paul caught one of his on a jerkbait. I couldn't get a bite on mine either way, but I would suggest that as a good search bait to look for, or a lipless. And then after that, yeah, I would say you got the right idea. Jigs after that. Once you find them, that's when I like to start throwing a jig. It's like once you can find the fish, that's when I like to start using a jig to kind of try to dig up the big boys, Get the big ladies in the club, Club bass.
Wine them and dine them.
Exactly. That's what I would suggest. Oh, hold on. We got more here. The place I was fishing was only about 20 feet of open water. The rest was, yeah, definitely. That's pretty cold. And, when you have 20 feet of open water and the rest all being ice, they might not be fixed up under where you are able to reach them. So it's possible that, from the fish's point of view, they just saw, your bait falling in. They're like, look at this moron. What the hell is going on? I'm not going to bite that. Come on. It's like the Death Star up there. You know what I mean? They're like, no.
Yep.
Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Do we have anything else on the list?
Yeah, I think I got the list here. So I think we talked about the right gear for the right application. That was mixed in with the Ike talk.
Yep.
We talked about life vests. We talked about our weekend. So I have just some promotional stuff. If you want me to run through that real quick, unless you have anything else.
I don't currently that I can remember. You go ahead and promote. I'm going to do a little bit of recon here and see if I'm missing anything.
Okay. So to start with, we'll start local. So Massachusetts, for Massachusetts kayak bassing, the spring brawl, Catch 'em All Spring Brawl is open for registration. We are still accepting it. That is for Saturday. That is a 1-day tournament. You pick your lake in Massachusetts, as many fish as you can catch. You do have to be a member of Massachusetts Kayak Bassing to be a part of that. Also, for under the same guidelines, being a member, the April monthly tournament is coming up. That does have some new rules for this year, where you select a week out of April. You pick your week, you fish your week, your total for the week goes up against everybody else for all this, for the entire month. Please get in on that if you're interested, if you're an MAKB member. Also, we are coming up very, very closely to the, let me think, it's going to be the third. So on the 4th, so this coming weekend, if you're a member, our registration will open up on Sunday night on the 4th for the first tournament of the year, and the first tournament for the trail that Nelson and I are directing, the Western Division. It'll be held at Quabog Reservoir. Mm-hmm. Quabog Reservoir. It's a pond, isn't it? Quabog Pond?
Yeah, I think so. Quabog Pond.
Quabog Pond, yes. And that is also members only. Okay, so don't just show up at the dock with a ruler saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm going to fish." Got to be a member first. All of that can be accomplished.
I'm essential.
Well, pardon me?
I'm essential.
Yeah, I'm learning. So that is our first tournament, and you have to be a member for that. And the nice thing about this is I've coordinated with Joe from Old Glory after the event. For those of us who are fishing, there will be pizza and beverages available at Old Glory. We're going to stop in afterwards. So if you have the time and you're available, please stop in to Old Glory afterwards for pizza and beverages, adult and otherwise.
Yeah, very nice.
The other two tournaments I would like to mention, that the one that is up for registration right now is the Chronic Trips, and we actually have really good turnout in this Chronic Trips.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's back. We're up over 20. So this will be a fun tournament, multi-species, fresh and salt water, nationwide. Join in. I always harp on this. This tournament is great for beginners. All right. There are some experienced fishermen in there. So if you come in, just say, "Hey, I'm going to see what I can do. This is your benchmark." Fish in a tournament. It's remote. You can fish on your time, whenever. Don't get discouraged. Make yourself some goals. Hey, I want to catch 5 of every species, or 5 of these particular 5 species, whatever. This is where you start with tournaments. If you're interested in being a tournament angler, start here. It's nice and easy. You can use bait. You can fish from the shore. You can fish from a boat. You can nail together 3 boards of wood and fish off that. I do not give a shit. I do give a shit. Yeah, I do give a shit about the rulers. You got to have something with a vertical edge, unless there's too long of a fish, and then I'll be lenient. The last thing I want to mention, we have pretty much, it's not completely set up, but we have everything sketched out. It's on Fish Donkey, but it is not open for registration because we have some nuts and bolts behind the scenes shit to iron out. The Jigs and Bigs May tournament is almost ready for deployment.
Just about. It's just about.
We've got one big cog in the gear that has to go in, or one big cog in the gear, one big cog in the machine that has to be installed, shall we say, and then we are a go. But we'll keep everybody posted on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And remember, that one in May is a fundraiser to benefit Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again, which I just put up a post on their group on Facebook mentioning that with the artwork for the details with what's going on. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Based on the turnout for that May tournament, if we have a huge amount of people join in and sign in, that's going to be meaning that we're going to be able to give away more prizes. So the larger the group, the better it is for everybody involved as far as get into the winnings for like prize packs and things like that. And we're gonna go ham with it. We're gonna have ourselves a great time. So very, very excited. I think that May is going to be huge. I think we've got a lot of fantastic stuff lined up for the future. And before we kick over to our interview, I should say this, that currently on our Instagram, we hit a major milestone over the week. We're at 9,815 followers currently. The giveaway from last week has ended. We're less than 200 followers away from our goal of 10,000. And I bring this up because the reason why, honestly, when I set this goal in May or in April of last year, I set that goal knowing that it was insane, that it was probably not going to happen. Simply because it was such a huge number for somebody so out of touch with a social media platform like Instagram. For me to go and build up this following like that, it's pretty unbelievable. In fact, I've had lots of messages. I got a DM from Weston Smith congratulating us on getting up that far already, and I was just like, dude, this is so ironic because if it weren't for your videos about how to work Instagram like this, I could not have done this. So thank you. I mean, that was really cool. So, I mean, we're so close, but the reason why we're pushing so much for this, and I think that now with the May tournament coming up and we have just over 30 days for before that goes live, this is the week where we're hoping to really cross into that 10,000 mark simply to make registering for that tournament easier for our Instagram following. So that way, instead of saying, hey, you got to go and download the Fish Donkey app, which you would have to do anyway, that's not a problem. And that's our backup plan, obviously. But if we could just provide a link in our story saying pre-register here, boom, and it just brings you right there. You're good to go. So that's kind of the idea. That's really what we're looking to do to see how things are working. You're right. You know what? The internet is better. That icon dropped.
I was going to tell you that you were talking. Yeah. I don't know what magic, what voodoo would you sacrifice a chicken to the goat god pan or something?
You know what I'm wondering?
Great now.
I'm wondering if there was like an Xfinity truck somewhere in the neighborhood doing some kind of maintenance, and it was like failing, and then everything they pulled the clothespin that was like keeping the hose of internet juice from coming.
It was like that Kids in the Hall skit where he tries everything with his car and then goes, oh, I found it. And he pulls out a kid and he's like, the Johnson kid was in there again.
It's like the fucking Johnson kid. God damn
Johnson kids.
So that's what we're getting at here, folks, is that there's really great stuff on the horizon. We need to thank all of you for the support. Like, that is huge. We're asking you guys to share our podcast and especially share our Instagram with any friends that you have. If we can get over that 10,000 mark, that's going to help us in a huge way to go ahead and kind of like make this like really kind of take off and make May huge. I said it before, I'm expecting a couple hundred anglers to join in and be a part of this one in May. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I have a strong feeling that a lot of the Make Massachusetts Fishing Spots Great Again sort of regular crowd of supporters will probably jump on this as well. And I hope they do, because I think this is going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yep.
And I'm the one thing I'm really kind of excited about is going and shopping for all of these prize packs and putting these together, knowing that people are just going to have their freaking lives made with some of the stuff that we're going to be giving away. So these will be conscientiously put together in a way to so that everybody gets stuff that's like super awesome and useful, things that we really, really, really enjoy, and that I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and get on them. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and let me be bad cop now. You're a good cop.
Please be bad cop.
You got all these prizes and happy shit. The bad cop says, make sure you have a hog trough or make sure you have a catch board, because if somebody puts some sort of cute laser etched ruler that might count for chronic trips, I'm going to DQ it. That's a rule. I want hog troughs. I want catch boards.
He wants hog troughs. And
you agreed on that. So I've got the backing of the man, the myth, the legend, Bobby Roast Beef himself.
Speaking of measuring devices, our good friend Bill Galekis had just posted a video on his Instagram of a mod to the Catch Carbonite board, the yellow plastic board that Catch makes. And it's a great board because you don't have to darken the lines or anything. Like, right out of the box, it's good to go. There's no BS with it at all. But he made a modification of that board so that it floats, and it's a cheap one. Highly recommend.
Was it... Silicon?
It involved some type of a foam insert.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very cool. I'm going to go ahead and hunt around and figure one of these out. Actually, it's funny, we're talking about fishing this May tournament, and Paul said, he's like, I think I got to jump in on that, man. He's like, I just have to get a board, and I told him, I said, don't order one online. I said, because he was like, oh, I couldn't find a board. I think he went out to like Dick's Sporting Goods and he got his PFD and a bunch of other stuff. He's like, I just need to find a measuring board. And I was like, well, hold off on the board. I was like, the one you want is by Catch, and it'll hold up. It's durable. There's no maintenance. There's no BS, and it's the best. The carbonite board is the best bang for the buck. Some of the
it is.
The metal ones are really nice. I'll be honest with you, they're really nice. But the Catch boards, I told him, I said, when I go and test out these kayaks, I go, you should definitely join me for the ride and experience it. And I'm like, this way, even if you haven't gotten out on your yak yet, I was like, we'll drag your yak on the trailer and then you can paddle around and, experience this all, get some saltwater experience too, I'm like, it'll be worth it. But I was like, I'll take you down there and you just get your board, because I'm hoping to make this happen before that May tournament. To be perfectly honest, I'd really like to be in the new boat for the May tournament.
That'd be nice.
That's kind of the goal.
That would be nice.
I am in the process of ordering some new PA gear for future wedding ceremonies and things like that, with some battery powered gear, and I might throw it connected to my phone via Bluetooth behind me so that it can just crank South of Heaven all day as I'm cutting across these ponds, and people be like, "Who's that asshole?" I'll be like, "Oh, that's that roast beef son of a bitch." Yeah, thinking he's all badass, squadron of nibblers and all.
Yep. Nibblers in tow. You're good to go.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, I'm psyched, man. There's a lot of good stuff happening. Dog treat random in my pocket. Just good stuff. I'm very, very excited. So why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's just go ahead and kick over to our interview segment. We've got Joel Melendez. Joel, you have seen him. He was part of the infamous Da Bomb Hot Sauce Fishing Challenge. In fact, I think he was one of the only two, maybe, that kind of got out of this thing unscathed. And we cover some of this, actually, in the interview. We kind of get we might maybe share a little bit too much. If I'm being perfectly honest, this was a good conversation. And if you know Joel, like I know Joel, he's not generally a talker. We got him talking. It was pretty good. We had a great interview. So sit back, relax. We'll be right back after this message from our good friends over at Three Bells Outfitters. Remember, guys, you need kayaks, you need accessories, you need batteries, you need measuring boards, you need
catch boards. Catch boards. They have catch boards.
They do have catch boards. They also have, if you're looking for tethers for your phone, things like this. Like, they've got all kinds of great stuff, all the best brands you would possibly want. Get out there. And I just made a suggestion on a Facebook group today. Somebody was asking about pedal drive kayaks, like if it was worth it versus a paddle kayak. And I said to this suggestion, I said, guys, just as a heads up, you owe it to yourself to take the ride to Three Bells and try out some of these models, and they'll take the time to make sure that everything is the way that it should be. Plus, if they settle on something they like and they're going to get it rigged up and everything for a fraction of the cost of traditional shipping, you can have it shipped with their white glove delivery service, which is it's like the first class for your boat. For you getting it there, making sure everything's the way it needs to be. You don't have a delivery driver dumping it on your lawn going, sign this. I made this. And oh, that's interesting because it's got these two giant holes going through the packaging that look like a forklift. What the hell's going on here? You'll know that your boat is in good hands by the people who have, incentive to make sure you get it the way it should be. So go ahead, check out Three Bells Outdoors. You're going to hear a little spot from them. Then we're going to go and talk with Joel. It's going to be awesome, guys. Sit back and stay tuned. We'll be right back. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full-service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water. Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef here. We've got our interview segment for this week, and we got a doozy. We have it's been a crazy week, but it's a good one. I think our guest this week is on a very short list of guests I've had on the show that I've actually fished with before. Guys, we've got Joel Melendez Jr. He is one of the Hooks at Hoodlums pro staffers. Just an awesome guy, and he was part of that Da Bomb hot sauce challenge that will forever go down in infamy. And how you doing, Joel? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Hanging in there. You know, it's been a week. I recorded my appearance for Fishing for Answers yesterday, and yeah, my mind has just been a scramble since then. It's going to be interesting to say the least. I feel like they went easy on me though. I really do. Weird questions.
Yeah, probably. They probably couldn't ask that
now
Fuck, Marry, Kill question to you.
Yeah, they could. Well, that's true. And I was kind of expecting it. I was like, really? I kind of even had a joke for it and everything. I was going to say, well, if I made the list, I would say I'm going to fuck myself because that's what my wife is constantly telling me to go do. You know, I mean, it makes sense. So there's that. I should give you a heads up that Wild Bill has messaged me with a couple of, I don't know if these are question pre-qualifiers, what kind of category I want to name them in, but he's definitely given me some information here. There's two things. We'll get to those in a minute. But so we're going to start things off, man. Go ahead and tell me how you discovered fishing. Like, how was fishing as an activity introduced into your life? And then kind of walk me through the story about how you got to the point where it plays such a prominent role.
Well, I've always done it since I was young. Like, my dad was big into fishing, freshwater, saltwater. His father was big into it on the island of Puerto Rico. So basically all my uncles too, they all do it. So it's growing up, that's what we did. I used to ride my bike to like a park across town just to fish.
Yep.
Or any pond close by and stuff. So kind of did it. And then kind of like my teenage high school years, I kind of took some time off. And then after I graduated high school, I got back into it. So since then, it's just been ongoing. Did the river scene for a couple of years, like probably like 2-3 years. And then kind of just once I got the kayak, just it was straight bass fishing then.
Nice. How long you been in the kayak for?
This will be second year. The last year I got it was the first year I got it.
Nice.
Before then, it was just like bank fishing. That's all I could do. Nobody I knew had a boat, so it was just straight bank fishing any place I can find. We'll do it then, and then last year for my birthday, my wife got the kayak for me. So then Father's Day, the paddle came and then the life jacket. So after that, I was all set to go.
Dude, that's awesome, man. You got a good one.
Yeah.
My wife's never bought. Well, no, I can't say that. She does buy me some fishing gear every once in a while, usually in the form of apparel or something like that. But No, that's awesome, man. I find that that's one common thing with especially people in, in my generation and in your generation, because I think I've got a good amount of years on you, but I feel like that's not kind of a common thing where a lot of us seem to fall out with fishing in that like teenage years kind of element. Maybe it's like sometime, either, in college or after college, later in life, we kind of like get reintroduced to it. Unless it was like something that was like a major player. It's kind of interesting. I find a lot of people have that kind of come up.
Yeah, it was, yeah. High school, you're like hanging out with friends, kind of doing stuff. I was busy with sports a lot. I played baseball basically from early spring all the way into the fall, and then only had like the winter off and stuff. So it really can't. I never did ice fish. Never been ice fishing.
Yeah. And now
said I would never do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're getting the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure's there. So
yeah, I hear you, man.
This winter, I'll probably do like the first time.
I want to get back into it too, but I want to be equipped the right way to have like the best experience. Because like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Like if we don't have safe ice here, I want to travel and go, into Maine, northern New Hampshire, stuff like that, and make sure like I'm doing it right. But I don't want to invest all that time, get out there and be like, yeah, these bibs aren't doing it. Let's call it a day. Let me drive 5 hours back home.
Yeah. No, my dad never did it, so we never like. And we always hunted in the fall all the way up to like December 31st. So
nice.
That was like the thing, fish spring, summer, fall, and then once hunting season came,
that's just shift gears.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, this is totally off, not the regular questions at all, but you were part of that Da Bomb hot sauce challenge. And I mean, I had a blast that day. I think that you were one of the ones that did not have as bad of like, it was hot sauce, that Da Bomb, but your reaction was a little bit more like you kept your composure much better.
Yeah.
I think
it was killing me. Believe me, it was killing me.
Well, I know Bill had an incident that occurred along the highway on his way home. I had a close call. That surprised me. I didn't think it was going to go that bad, but I was on Route 2 in Norwich, and I was on the side of the road, and I'm like, is this it? Is this my time, Lord? Is this when I'm coming home? I thought it was going to be bad.
The whole time we were in the parking lot, I was feeling it.
Yeah.
Kept it down, tried to keep my composure, like, drinking water, eating those tortilla chips, trying to get it to go away. It didn't help. And then it finally like settled down. And then once we left that parking lot, before we get on the highway, that road is just like windy, up and down. Just felt like a roller coaster. My stomach's going up and down.
Oh, and it fired back up. I never thought about it. That might have been the problem. Oh man, because in the parking lot it was hot, but I was all right. I'll bet you if I hung around like a half hour, I probably would have been fine.
Yeah. Once it hit that road, it just, like, I felt nauseous. I literally thought I was going to have to pull over.
Yeah.
And but before I got on the highway, I saw Bill and I, went to go check on him.
Oh, that's right. You were there at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
At the scene. Oh, man. So I should go ahead and throw this out there because we're talking about challenges right now. Wild Bill goes and he tells me this is one of two things he told me was that one, that you will be eating bull testes this calendar year. That's the one thing. I will get to the other thing later. I don't know how I'm going to crowbar that one in here. It's even more random. We'll figure it out though.
So he's saying we're going to be on opposite teams then already.
I think that's what he's saying. I don't know if is he calling somebody in? Is he trying to bring a ringer into this? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's got someone in the back pocket.
This is going to be a whole lot of fun because we're talking about doing like teams of two and then having like a progressive scale of how many bull testicles the losers need to eat. So everybody might get a little bit of a sample unless you're in first place, but it all depends. We still need to find somebody to cater this because it's got a lot of bull balls. It's a lot. Yeah. A lot of Rocky Mountain oysters.
I haven't seen many like restaurants that like carry them at all.
Not in New England. I haven't seen that at all. But in parts of the Midwest, I think it's more of a thing. Maybe down south, Rocky Mountain?
So we might have to like go to like a butcher shop and have them like see if they can get it ordered.
I think finding them will be easy. You know, we're fishermen. We know farmers.
Yeah.
You know, what are your favorite seasons to go fishing in? Like, what's the time of year that you love it for? Like for the creature comforts.
So this year I went what last weekend was terrible. Wind, cold, figured it'd be nice because the sun was out, but no, it was bad. So I was gonna say like early summer, like late spring.
Yep.
I'd say around there, and then throughout the summer, even though like the dog days, but you find that right time, like during the day or early morning, evening.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Timing is everything in the summer, you know?
But yeah, like last year, I remember it was like 95 one morning. Went out like 6 a.m., fished like 12 and got like 5 bites the whole time.
Oh, and you feel every one of those hours in that kind of heat. Oh my God. Yet I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah.
Of course not.
Oh man. Is there any like one weather condition that you're just like, I won't deal with it?
Oh, I won't go back out in the wind again.
Yeah. Especially in a kayak.
Sunday. Oh yeah. I did it this past Sunday. It was terrible. I got like halfway to the spot I wanted to fish.
Yeah.
Hat blew off.
Oh.
Had to turn back around to get it. Get to the spot. It was like there's an island in the middle, so it was kind of blocking the wind.
Yep.
But once you got away from the island, the wind was like terrible.
Pushing you right off.
Oh yeah. I'd have to like paddle to the spot, start there, and then I'd get blown across the lake, then have to go back, start again.
I think that's the biggest challenge, as a fisherman, when you're out doing your sessions at the water and you get out there in the wind, even if you're bank fishing, like casting in the wind it can be a huge challenge. And if you're on the bank, you only have so many options, as to how you can position yourself. And then when you're on a smaller boat, it's definitely an issue. But I mean, if the wind's bad enough, you can be on a big boat and it's a problem there too,
Oh yeah. So like this pond I went to, it's like close to my house. Yep. Probably like, I think the deepest is like 7-8 feet.
Oh, okay.
So I tried throwing like a Texas rig sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah. It was not happening. It was just like a rainbow. Wind was catching it.
Yeah.
The only thing that basically could like had some weight was like a lipless crank or like a spinnerbait.
Now, in your opinion, when you're throwing baits and they're getting picked up by the wind, do you up the amount of weight you're throwing, or do you try to go more aerodynamic?
Well, that day I just try to like go with the wind, just like cast with the wind.
You need to,
because trying to throw like into it, it was just like getting like half the distance.
Yep. What are your favorite kinds of bodies of water to get out there and fish? I know you mentioned rivers. Do you prefer current, or are you more of a pond hopper, or do you like big lakes that you can break down section at a time?
I haven't really done any big lakes besides like the big lakes around those aren't that big. It's nothing like Candlewood or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big body of water.
Yeah. Well, I'd probably like say ponds.
Yeah.
A little easier. You can break it down. Probably usually they have like a couple hours to fish, like in the evening or like in the morning. So like smaller ponds is like the go-to.
You can generally break those down a little bit quicker. It's funny. I talk to some people and they're a special type of angler, and they're just like, nope, current. I'm looking for a river. I'm looking to be, in where there's current, and I'm not 100% sure what the reason is there, but they're definitely out there. What about as far as baits go? Like, what's your short list of confidence baits?
I'm gonna say like a shallow diving like crankbait.
Okay.
Texas rig. Spinnerbait was like the go-to like fall bait.
Yeah.
And basically that and top water.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody loves top water. What's your favorite top water presentation?
So I had like 2 that did good on last year with the Berkeley Choplo.
Yep.
And then it was a Bagley propeller bait.
Oh yeah. I think
it's It's probably like 2 inches, maybe,
Uh-huh.
and it has a little propeller on the back.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I've fished any of those at all. Any prop baits at all. I've had a couple come through too, and like, mystery tackle box type things, something like that. But I don't. It's so funny. Like topwater is something other than throwing like a whopper plopper. Like I just didn't really put any effort into it at all. But man, this last year has changed my opinion completely. Like that's one of those things where in the summertime, like I'll be up way before the sun comes up just to be in a good spot so that I can get that dawn bite.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Like usually when I go on Saturdays, like once the summer comes, like Saturday mornings is like the day that I go. So I'll get there like 6 a.m. Try to get there for like 5:30 to 5:36. Get that early morning topwater bite, and then once like 7:30, 8 o'clock rolls around, then I start throwing like the Texas rig.
Nice. Now there's the saying that fishing tackle is made to catch more fishermen than it's meant to catch fish. In your opinion, what do you think is like the most ridiculous tackle trend that kind of came about?
So like you get this a lot on it.
Oh yeah.
The banjo minnow.
Oh yeah. It's so
like when I was younger, seeing it on TV.
Yeah.
And then told them, like, my parents was like, oh, I kind of want it. I want it. And then my dad ended up getting it. And I don't ever remember catching anything on it. I don't even think we like threw it.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because what's ironic is I went through, there was this big box of baits, must have been sometime in the winter. I had put together of random stuff. And one of our jig heads, Tim, he had given me a bag full of banjo minnows because he had heard it mentioned on the show so many times. And I think that's like probably the number one as seen on TV bait that most people think of, like right off the top of their head. It's like, oh yeah, the banjo minnow. It's ridiculous. So if you ever want to try them, I'm your guy. I got a bag full of them.
It was that. And then I've also seen like on like Facebook ads, it used to be shown like on TV. It's like it's almost like the buka. Almost, it's like a little
I think
like a little bluegill, tiny like 3-inch maybe, for like 4 sections in the body.
Yep, yeah.
And they just like swimming it like in a pool with like a little stick and a line.
And it turns
like the action.
It turns like so tight, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I've seen those like on my Facebook feed. I've seen those before. It's funny too. Like I can see where those would definitely, like there's a theory behind those big realistic looking swim baits. I've got last year I had a buddy of mine gave me a bluegill swim bait. It's a single joint, like just a 2 segment, and it's a slow sinker, and it looks so realistic. But I'm just not 100% sure on where to fish it, and I don't really necessarily have the right gear for what I need, in order to effectively use it. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, there is.
Those are like heavier baits.
Some of them are like crazy heavy.
Those are like what, like 2-3 ounces?
Yeah, I'll bet you this one at least goes 1.5 ounces. The one that I've got, at least, because it's heavy. Well, I just got some flipping weights in the mail. I can compare them side by side at some point. Maybe I will. I'll check it out. Let's see. So yeah, banjo minnow, 100%. I agree with that. Now I'm a big fan. There's people fish for a million different reasons. Sometimes it's all about competition. Sometimes it's just an escape from the daily grind and everything like that. I'm a big fan that like fishing and the company that you bring with you out there. Like there's definitely a time to be alone, but when you're fishing with other people, sometimes those other people can make or break a trip. So, in your opinion, what are like your top 3 people that you would love to fish with, and they can be living or dead?
First one would be like my grandfather. He passed away. I never got to fish with him.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in Puerto Rico, but would love to fish with him. I would say Roland Martin.
Oh, dude, that's a good call.
Yeah, I would love to like fish with him.
And
he's just like
it's
full of like old school knowledge
and stories.
Yeah. You'd hear some like amazing stories like if you fish with him.
Yep.
And I'd say like the third one would be say like Mike Iaconelli.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't want to fish with Ike?
Dude, he's just like, he's like always amped up.
It's true.
I love it.
It's true. Even like on his videos, I've seen he's done a bunch of like shop time videos where he's doing tackle breakdowns and things. And even just in his delivery, he's very amped up. Like you're like, that guy needs to switch to decaf. You know, he's all about it.
Oh yeah, I've been watching those lately on YouTube. Like his breakdown, like his full, like top 3 or 5 like spring baits, fall baits. Like just watching him, like he breaks it down so like good and like tells you like certain things, like how to throw it, when to throw it, like kind of like situation structures around it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like good info. And I think like a lot of like pros are starting to do it, like some of them. So, it helps out like the younger generation, you know?
That's the thing. I feel like it's so funny because like are you big into tournament bass fishing at all?
I do watch it. Yeah.
I am from like, to me, it's completely foreign. Like I just know that it's existed for however long, but the sport is, you know, realistically, like when you look at the timeline, it's a very young sport, you know? But what I think is amazing is this breakthrough with like, it's starting to cross over with technology, and you're seeing like, you know, Brian Latimer and Jacob Wheeler, and you're seeing all of these pros that are, you know, giving tips and doing, you know, making online content that, you know, there's a ton of information over there that could potentially save you like decades of trial and error, you know?
Oh yeah. Like they're just like Brian Latimer was like way he breaks stuff down and like, it's great.
Yeah. He's got his videos with like Ned rigs and drop shots and stuff are absolutely, they were a big point for me, like with drop shots, learning, you know, what and you know, what to do and how to not even so much like rigging, but like, you know, how it all kind of works, the mechanics of it. So very, very cool. What is it that you're listening to on your way to the water to get yourself pumped up?
It's not so much like pumped up, but I listen to like a lot of country. Country rap is most of it.
Oh yeah,
stuff. So I listen to that. On the water, I don't really listen to anything. Yeah. I did listen like this past, like when I went out for like the first time this year. I trying to like throw it in there, put headphones on.
Yep.
Like tried it out. It's kind of like the same thing, you know, but it kind of puts you in a vibe too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's a good thing.
I'll probably keep doing it.
Yep.
Except if I go fishing at night, of course. But
yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly it. That's one thing. There was somebody recently who had recommended a real small, compact Bluetooth speaker, and I'm like, that's not a bad idea. I think that might be the jam.
Hey, you know, you can listen to music, podcasts,
listen to Jigs and Bigs. You know,
yeah. You know, if you haven't caught up on any episodes, you can throw it on, you know.
Sparky True Nibbler Lipper. That's what he does when he's out on his kayak. Many times he'll be like just, you know, pre-fishing for a tournament or something, and there'll be a story on his Instagram, and he's, you know, footage of him in the kayak, and in the background you hear Jigs and Bigs. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stories, yeah.
It's good stuff. Have you ever traveled anywhere with the specific intention of fishing?
Not like specifically just for fishing, but like we've gone on like family vacations. We're like, look up by a body of water. Let's go hit it up. You know?
Yeah.
You know, past couple of years gone on like family vacations, or Wild Bill. So, you know, we usually find like we went to New Hampshire a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Lake George last year, where you caught that like it was like just under 4 pounds. So they actually like jumped in the water for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was there. All of a sudden, he threw the water pot. We were going out like every morning for like 2 hours, you know, before everyone woke up. You know, wake up at like 5 o'clock. Get out there, you know, fish till like 7:30 or whatever.
That's awesome.
You know, throwing top water. I'm throwing the Bagley bait, reeling it in. You know, all of a sudden I just hear like this big like smash. Look over, his rod's bent. He's like, dude, it's a big one.
That's awesome.
Really did. There's like this pontoon boat that was like some like cleaning, like they were cleaning up around the lake and stuff for like vegetation and stuff.
Oh, all right.
And it like starts going under that dock in that little pontoon boat. And all of a sudden I just see him like throw his phone, whatever he had in his pockets, he like threw it out, took off like the GoPro, hopped in. Actually, I don't even know if he had the GoPro. He just like hopped in, and I pulled out my phone, just like started recording as soon as he's like walking back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was only like probably like mid, like between chest and waist deep over there. So,
yep.
But like it was probably like a 2-foot drop into the water, and then another like 3 feet, and he just like jumped in, no hesitation, just jumped right in.
Sometimes that's just how it is, man.
Yeah, I pulled it out, was like super pumped, and we were like literally thought it was over 4 because it was a long fish.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty long, and it like had some like little gut to it, had some little girth, but they pulled it on the scale. It was like just under like 4 pounds, probably like 3.5.
That's awesome.
But it was a nice, good fish.
That's awesome, man. That's like the best feeling,
Right. No. It was also the first time I caught the first smaller last year, the only one I caught last year.
Oh, really?
It was probably like 8 inches, but it's like that little 8-incher fought hard.
They're probably one of my favorites, smallmouth.
He smashed it like he was a big boy.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. They've just got so much piss and vinegar. They're just like, fuck it. They just hit hard. Yeah,
that's something I definitely want to do this year, is like go for smallies, like especially like in the rivers. Like after seeing like Bill just killing it in the rivers last summer.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. Now, is there a destination anywhere in the world that's like your bucket list place that you want to fish?
I like to fish down in like Texas.
Yep.
Like one of those, probably I would say like Lake Fork, but it can be like any lake in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Just either that or like Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Florida would be like Lake Okeechobee.
There you go.
Flipping some grass, even though I've never like flipped with like jigs or anything. But like that's this year's goal is to like learn jigs, like fish jigs.
It's a good place to learn, Definitely.
Oh yeah.
All right, so this is Wild Bill's second bit of info, and I'm curious what your take is here. He says, number 2 item, quoting him, "I trim my beard like this on purpose." Can you elaborate on that or explain what this is supposed to mean?
So he grows his beard, or like grows it out.
Yeah,
gets it nice and trimmed. Mine's all like burly looking, long, and then Andrew has his all like nice, full, all like. Andrew's not as burly as mine. His is more straight down, more like trimmed up,
well manicured.
Yeah. So that's like the joke of like all of us, like, because he can't grow a beard like us. So
oh yeah,
it doesn't, like, he grows it, but doesn't come in like thick as ours does.
I feel his pain.
No, but your beer is nice though.
It's all right. It's all right. I mean, what I'm lacking in pigment. I'm starting to turn into Santa Claus over here. That's my biggest issue.
Oh, I'm getting the grays in mine as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I out of the 3 of them, I will tell you, Andrew has the brag-worthy beard. Like he's got follicles that I think. I mean, if we could like skin graft those and put them on my head, and that would be amazing.
Yeah, he's got a nice like full beard. His like comes straight. Mine's all like curly. It's all thick, but like if I straighten it out, like it's long.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Then I measured it last time. It was like probably got like 5 inches.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I have this love-hate relationship with my beard. You probably remember at the DeBomb event, my beard then was just massive. Yeah. I looked like what the hell's that dude's name from Lord of the Rings. You know who I'm talking about. I mean, it was just.
I've never watched Lord of the Rings.
Oh, it was ridiculous. And that following week, I messed up trimming it because I couldn't leave well enough alone. And I am convinced that the second half of September, all the way through October, or no, about midway through October, that 4-week period where I messed it up and I shaved it all off. I left just a mustache and the bane of Sean the Fisherman's existence, the soul patch. I caught so much heat about that, but all my fishing mojo was gone, and I immediately stopped shaving after that. I said no.
Oh, so the beard's a trick, man.
I think it is, at least for me. You know, at least for me. Oh, let's see. All right, where would you like to see where's your goal for fishing in the next 5 to 10 years? Where would you like to see it develop and take you?
Probably just into more tournaments.
Yep.
I've never done one. Thinking of doing the chronic trips for this April, and then obviously yours in May.
Yep. Nice.
But probably getting into more tournaments and stuff, or around the area and stuff.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say going into full hardcore traveling out of states for crazy tournaments or anything, but stuff local and stuff. Connecticut, Mass, Rhode Island.
Oh yeah.
I'd go I'd travel up to Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, up there.
Yep.
New York, just because they're close by. But anything going south or anything, I don't think the wife would be happy with me leaving for that.
You should check out the EKF series. Elite Kayak Fishing. It's brand new. It's brand new. And what it is they cover, off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly the lakes that they are, but I know they go as far north. They're in Champlain. Might even go a little further than that in Maine. And then there was one before that was in Jersey, but they had gotten rescheduled. They basically cover the entire northeast area, and there's a bunch of different dates. And the idea is they're larger bodies of water, so there's more anglers. So you kind of get that. It's you sort of get that big tournament sort of feel,
Yeah.
And I don't believe you need to be a member. I think you can just enter in the individual tournament. So it's pretty cool. I think if you want to have it work for you toward KBF, I think you need to be a member or something. But I'd look into it, man. If you want to go and make one of those bodies of water, let's say Champlain, if you want to go and check that out, that's a great way to do it. Kind of gives you a target and a goal and all that jazz. But,
yeah, I'd probably before then I'd have to upgrade the kayak.
Yeah.
Go from into a pedal or something, because
that'd definitely help you. Yeah.
Yes, those large bodies of water paddling would. Oh, it'd be a workout.
And I'm sure that at least my goal would be I'd try to pre-fish as much as possible and break down some so I at least had some sort of confidence in areas or some sort of an idea of what was happening there, but. Here we are. We're giving away all this great information to everybody.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We're actually
clearly we're not reinventing the wheel, but
yeah. So this year the plan is actually to help Wild Bill free fish and check out spots and stuff on it, because he's doing Slay Nation.
Yep.
So we figured out go every tournament comes, go a week before, check it out.
Yeah.
See how it is,
Yeah, it's you got to prepare. That's the name of the job, or that's the name of the game. Now, the deal. This whole interview is sort of built around, this is the highlight, these two stories. Two stories of completely different kind of sides of the spectrum. On the one hand, I need the story of the moment you were most proud of on the water. The moment you're just this is, maybe it was a PB, maybe it was something crazy had happened, and it was something memorable. The other story is that biggest moment on the water when everything just kind of it all went to shit. Fire away.
So I probably have two biggest like proud moments.
Okay.
So first one would be probably I think I was like 12, somewhere around there.
All right.
To go like opening day fishing with my dad like every year. Go up to Sheffield Hollow.
Nice.
And going there over there like opening day is just like everyone's around that pond. It looked like 5 feet to the right, 5 feet to the left. There's somebody there. So cast out, we're waiting, trout picks it up. I never weighed it or measured it, but it was like probably like my PB rainbow. Of course, obviously it's stock, but
yeah,
if I'd said it was probably like 6 pounds, 5.
Whoa! All right.
Like it was a good sized football. I actually have the picture somewhere. I'd have to like find it and stuff, and I could send it to you. So that was like my first like proud moment.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, and then the second one would be we went out to Wells, Maine one year.
Oh yeah.
And my dad brought a bass tracker up there in salt water. But obviously, we only did like the harbors, like shallow waters around there.
Yep.
So we're fishing there. Nothing really in the harbors like during the day. But then we'd go at night to like the docks, and like you just see like all the bait fish jump in, and then little schoolies hitting them. So we're just casting.
Nice.
Catching a bunch of schoolies, and then I had a live bait like just sitting out there on the dock on a chair. And all of a sudden, I'm like fishing for the schoolies, catching them. All of a sudden, I just hear my rod hit the dock. Went like almost all the way into the water. I grabbed it, reeled in. It was like 43-inch striper.
That's
like off the dock in the harbor. Yeah,
that's awesome. Nice.
I have a picture of that too. We put it in like the hotel like sink, and it's just like a U shape just coming out both sides.
Oh my god, dude.
Never caught a striper that big ever again.
That's a big striper, man. And how old were you when you did this?
That one I was probably like 14.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For a kid that age, that's a great fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
definitely
fish.
Was a fight.
Holy crap.
Definitely was a fight. And I remember because like my dad was like on a boat, like one of the dock boats that were docks, like probably like little John boats that people had that would go out to their boats that were like out in deeper water.
Yep.
And he was fishing for the schoolies too, and was like catching them. He had one on, and I had one on too. And I just, once I heard, I kind of like gave him my rod and was like ran over to it to try to like get it before it went into the water.
Yeah.
Because he would have been upset about that one.
Damn, man.
Yeah. The reel was, even though like the rod wasn't much.
Yeah.
Because I think we bought it like a tag sale, but we fixed it, like put new guides on it and everything.
Yeah.
And stuff. But like the reel on it was more than the rod. Like that was his main thing. Like his salt, like he did more saltwater fishing than freshwater, and that was like his thing. Like he would go like above and beyond for like his saltwater reels.
Yep.
But he had one preference, and it was like pen reels were like his thing.
That's how some people are. They're just like, they find something that they like, and they just stick with it. That's not. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but.
Oh no, definitely not. Because I have one too. Like my saltwater surf casting rod.
Yep.
I think he bought me a rod for like one day for my birthday. Probably remember when he was like, "Oh, let's go get a rod." I was like, "For what?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy it for your birthday." I was like, "All right." So I told him I wanted to get in surf casting and started reading off Field and Stream.
Yep.
And like, it was like a springtime article, and like, it was a great article about people going to like it was like Long Island, somewhere around there.
Oh, all right.
Like surf casting, and people up in the Cape surf casting, like catching like hogs. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I got a surf casting rod. It was like a 9 or 10 foot rod. And then we went out, got me a pen reel, went out to the bait shop. We got it spooled up and everything. That same day we went out, like, never caught anything on it, but I was giving it all.
Oh yeah.
So I still have it. I haven't saltwater fished last year. It was more like freshwater, just straight going for bass.
Yep.
This year, I think I'm gonna start doing both. Bring out the kids too for saltwater, because freshwater, bring them out. Great time with the kids. With they're like, oh, I don't catch anything.
Yeah.
So, we'll get worms and everything, live bait, put it on the bobber, everything, and they go through them like within the hour, they're done.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Fishing with kids is tough. It's like I've got, and actually I've been meaning for a while to do a segment about fishing with kids, and I got to get around to doing that. That's something I should work on. But yeah, fishing with kids is tricky, because it's not about, you getting out there and catching fish. It's more about teaching the younger generation what it's all about and how to appreciate nature and how to make that connection. And also get them over hey, here, you take responsibility baiting your hook and doing all this stuff. And they get older and they learn these little lessons. So it really is. But it's frustrating when you're just like, oh my God, I just want to, I'll never forget my wife and kids decided to take me out fishing for Father's Day one year. And it was the most work I've ever done. Because I had all their rods to handle, and they're just like, yeah, it'll be great. You can just relax and fish and do your thing. And I'm like, yeah,
that's not how it goes. Like, I'll bring my two older boys out.
Yep.
And I'll bring my rod. I'll bring my backpack with all my baits and stuff.
Yep.
I'll make a few casts, and then I'm end up watching them, seeing what they're doing. They're like, oh, I broke my hook off, so tying it back on.
Yep.
And then after a while, I was like, you know what? I think it was like 2 years ago, we went up to New Hampshire. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm not tying it for you guys. You guys got to learn. So I showed them a quick, easy knot.
Yep.
I think I want to say it's a uni knot.
Okay.
Well, it's like the first knot I ever learned with my dad. It's like putting it through the eye, wrap it around like 3-5 times.
Yep.
Put it back to the loop. Put it back to the loop again. Just cinch it down.
Yep.
That was like the first easy knot, and I still tie it to this day.
Yeah.
That's probably like my go-to knot. Like, I'll do the Palomar polymer.
Yep.
I'll do that knot, but I think I just have more confidence in uni knot just because it's like the first one I ever learned. I never had like any bad thing like to say about it. It's always stayed tight, never came undone or anything. So that's like my go-to knot for it.
Yeah.
And I show them to it. They did it. They practiced a couple of times. They got it. And then I think they went out one day by themselves, like when we were on vacation. And I think they just forgot. And I was like, came back and I was like, what kind of knot is this?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of forgot. So
I figured I would do this. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I just tied a couple overhand knots. They basically over like 4 overhand knots on it, and that was it.
Yep. And that'll come right undone. You'll come back with a pig's tail.
It worked for them.
Yeah.
So I'm not, well, they were like catching probably like little 5-inch bass, bluegills.
Yeah.
And stuff. So they had fun. They went on their own because they're like, oh, Tate. So I was like, listen, if you guys want to go, you guys can go. We're right down from the lake, so you guys can go. So they'd go down there. We get them worms. There's like this cool little bait shop we found by the house. We'd go stop there, grab some worms for them. Those are like the little bait shops that I love.
Yeah, those are the greatest.
And up there, like it was like someone's like house right next to it, and they had like the shed, and it was like you walk in there, shiners, couple little lures, hooks, bobbers, worms. Grab them some, give it to them. They'd go out for like 2-3 hours and just like fishing for like little bluegill, little bass.
That's awesome. And how old were they when they were doing this?
They're 13 now, so they're like 11.
Oh, all right. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
So, and actually I have a pond like probably like 2 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And I sent them there. They're like, how do you get to it? I was like, it's easy. We've been there. We drove there.
Yeah.
It's right, literally 2 minutes from the house. You walk to it. So they've gone there. They've gone to another one that's probably a little further.
Yep.
And they just get like frustrated. They're like, we didn't catch anything.
It is. It's tough, man. I can remember like when I was young, we had moved from, what I thought at the time when I moved here was a small town. It was the woods. We had moved out to this rural spot, and I was all about getting out and fishing as often as I could. And that was what a lot of it was just like I didn't really put much mind to it or like do any preparation whatsoever. It was just showing up with bait and throwing it out there and hoping for the best. And it was just frustrating, and kind of crazy. I would ice fish then too, and I had actually better luck. But looking back, I have a feeling that it was because I would typically be out ice fishing with, my father and his buddies or my uncles, and we would end up going where they knew were great spots to, to drill holes and then, set tip ups up or whatever. So I think it was just on that, and I wasn't aware that the fact that they kind of knew this pond or had been, figured something out on it. So I don't know, man. That's awesome though. Like fishing with kids is a challenge, and when you can get them to the point where they're like they're learning and they're a little bit self-sustainable, like it's great. My oldest daughter, she's gonna be 17 this summer. Holy crap! Taught her how to cast a bait caster last summer, and she's doing great with it. She probably only does it like twice a year, but I was blown away. I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
I probably I learned when I was younger.
Yep.
On my dad's, and then I just like stopped using it.
Yeah.
Because I got like a couple like bird's nests, couple backlash, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'll just stick to the spinning rod.
I was in my late 30s when I learned how to cast a bait caster. It was just one of those things. I was like, when my buddy, I picked up fishing again. My buddy Paul was like, hey, we should fish together. You're looking for a hobby. And we go out, and I would show up with one eagle claw spinning combo, and I'm like, I don't even know what I had on there for line, and I would just throw live bait in there, and he was throwing a bait caster, but he was like, yeah, he's like, you should switch over to one of these. He's like, it's almost like a luxury. He's like, it's almost seamless. You can just reel in and then change your position, cast real quick. It's a lot more fluid of a motion, and I'm like, doesn't really seem like it's really worthwhile. But then when you realize how to, set up your gear so that your rods have different jobs, and you realize that there's like a fishing rod isn't a rod, there's a lot of different variations out there. You start to kind of learn this stuff. You're like, holy crap, there's like, I missed out on an opportunity to kind of learn all this. Unreal.
So I just picked up a bait caster last year again.
Yep.
Like a cheap, like $70 combo. It's a Berkeley cherry wood rod with like a Albu Garcia black mats.
Yep. All right.
So pick that up. Got some like P-line fluorocarbon. Threw it on there. Took it out. Practiced, of course, in like my backyard and stuff. Yeah. Like casting, getting it right. Watch a bunch of like Devo's videos, like how to like tune the bait caster, set it up.
Yep.
Did that, and then first day I went on the water with it. Didn't get any like backlashes or anything. And I was like, oh sweet. I got this. I'm down. I got this down, man. And then probably like the next time I went out, got like two of them. I was like, shit, maybe I don't got this down.
Yep.
But like you're still gonna get them no matter what.
Oh yeah.
You even see like the pros, they get them not as often, but like you'll see them throw, and then you see them like pull it out a little bit. They get it like a small one or something.
Yeah, I've come to realize that it's sort of part of the beast, and you can also tell like when it would be a good time to just bomb a cast and then roll the spool back up nice and tight. You sort of kind of figure it out. You're like, okay, well, this might be a problem. I'll tell you, most of the times when I have issues with backlashes, really, it's because I forgot about the size of the bait that I'm throwing. Like I may have changed the weight. I've had this happen before where, I'll throw like I'm throwing like that BBZ rat, and then I'll tie something else on that's much lighter. And I'm really like, okay, hang on, this is a different animal. I'm not thinking right.
Yeah, so like that. So I got a new like combo from Old Glory.
Yep.
You know, love it. You know, love the feel of it. Love the reel and everything. So went out bank fishing one day after work, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tune this in." You know.
Yep.
And then threw a Texas around because that's what I bought it for. It's like basically, I was like, I'm gonna use my other one for like top water, like crankbaits. You know, throw some monofilament on there, and then this one will be just basically the straight up like Texas rig jigs. You know, learn how to throw them. I was like, yeah, I'll get it down. I've watching like videos like how to like set it up, tune it, you know. I was like, oh, set the brakes on full. If it ever make it through the cast, you know, once you get used to it, take the brakes down a little bit. Did that, thought I had it down. Backlash. I was like, damn. I'll get it out, tighten it back up, throwing it out again, and then hopped on. It's a reservoir that gets split by a road. So like hopped onto the other one, casting it was all fine. And then I don't know what happened. It just like mega backlash.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it out. You know, I'm trying to pick it out. Every time I try to reel bit, it's tightening again. I'm like, Jesus. So I literally had to cut the line out, get it out, pulling the line back in from like with the weight of like the rig and stuff, pulling it all back in, stuff in my back pocket. I'm like, all right, now I got like half a spool line on there.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning like with it. I threw it the other day. Had no problems with it.
Yep.
But I think it's just still trying to like get used to that one because I'm still used to my other one that I got last year. Like that one, I'll cast it no problem. You know, so plus I also think that one, my one I got last year, I spooled up tighter than the new one. I think I'd probably have to re-spool it because the line's still a little loose. I didn't spool it up tight enough.
Oh yeah.
So once like I'll play my finger across it and it still feels like all the lines like loose and stuff. So I'll probably just have to like take it all off, re-spool it up and stuff. Well, that's what I kind of noticed like that. Well, like between the two of them, like the tighter one, I had no problem, no backlashes every time I threw it. It was fine.
Yep.
And the one that was looser, just even like the littlest cast or like it'll be a fine cast and it still feels like you'll see like a couple of those loops like still around the reel that are like loose. And I'm like, yeah.
Really?
I mean, I'm just set up, yeah. Plus, it's like a faster gear ratio. I know that, but I don't think it has anything to do with it. So,
yeah, I
think it's all just trying to get used to, you know, whole fundamentals, muscle memory, you know, back into after that long break of winter.
That's what I find is the most interesting is when you're like, oh yeah, well, you know, ice out, let's go. It's time to go hit the water. And then you get there.
Basically that's what I did Sunday. I was like,
and then you're like,
I'm
rustier than I thought, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. It felt good though to be like on the kayak. It was, even though it was cold, I was like, oh, sun's out. Like I'm gonna wear shorts and hoodie. I'll be fine, you know. Put some socks under the Crocs, you know, after I get in the water. And in the kayak, and I'll be all set.
Oh, you went out in the kayak?
Yeah, I went out in the kayak last Sunday.
Okay.
Like the wind gust that I don't know how it was up in Mass, but like down here was like it was windy. It was probably like
it was
20
bad.
mile an hour winds.
Yeah, I can't believe you
like
went
15,
out like that.
Like 20.
Holy crap, dude!
That's how I lost my hat. I got like halfway out, and the hat just like blew off. Yeah, full circle. By the time I got to it, it's like almost fully like submerged. Just grabbed it. Like there's probably like an inch of like the corner of the brim like sticking out.
I'm laughing only because I know that when Sean the Fisherman hears this, he's gonna be cringing so badly.
But like I was out there probably like I went around like 11. You know, came back in like 3.
You made it that long out? Oh my God. Wow, dude. Yeah, that's dedication. I mean, it is dedication because it was windy as hell. It was colder than the son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. I probably had like one bite. Like I tried throwing a lipless crank, nothing.
Yeah.
Texas rig, nothing. Obviously, it wasn't that like
The
the water
front,
temp
man.
was like way too cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had that whole like
them,
warming, like that whole week it was all warm, and then come that week and like temperatures dropped. It just like I think it
Big
just
time.
like shut everything off because like Bill went out, he caught that 4-pounder just under 4.
Yep.
And then a buddy of mine went out, sent like first time out on his kayak. He bought one finally after like I saw him at a pond last year.
Yep.
He saw the kayak. He's like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna look into that. Looked obviously like last year with the whole like COVID, like kayaks just like sold out.
Oh,
so
you ain't kidding.
He waited till like this year, bought it, came in. He went out that week that it was like 55, 60.
Yeah. Oh my
God. First time out, caught a couple bass, sent it to me. I was like, damn, I wish I could go out today.
Yeah.
I was like, what? This weekend I'm going out. The weather, it's sunny. It's still gonna be cold, but I was like, I'm gonna go out.
Yep.
Walked out of the house. It wasn't as windy like at the house that when I went onto the water.
When you get out there, it's way worse.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's more open.
Yep.
Like in the neighborhood, you have all the houses, trees blocking everything. But like on the open water, it was just I was like, yeah, this is not. I was like, no, I'm still stick with it. Going out, stuck that long, and then the wind started picking up towards the end by towards 3:00, and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like my toes are cold, even though I had like socks on. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. Started paddling in, and the wind just like picked up like crazy. Like I didn't even really have to like paddle. It just like blew me all the way in. And then I did have to like kind of like steer because it was like trying to blow me out into like the middle of like the pond.
Yep.
So I had to like keep like turning to go to the boat ramp, get in. Like some dude like hopped out of his car, started taking like pictures. Probably was like, oh, look at this asshole trying to go out there in the wind. So I finally got in. Like I literally pulled my kayak up on shore and just like sat in my car to warm up.
Yeah. I can't, dude. My mind is blown. Oh my God.
Like I loaded after a couple of like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Loaded the kayak, put everything in the car. Literally, as soon as like I strapped it to like the car and got in, like snow flurries started coming down, rain, like winds were like picking up like crazy, like strong gusts. Literally, like sitting in my car and I could feel like shake.
That's, dude. That's.
I was like, yeah. I was like, I definitely got off just in time.
Yeah, that's rough. Because it's no joke, man. It can get bad, man. That's nuts.
There's a boat still out there, like. So when I got there was one guy on a kayak and then one guy on like a little, probably like 16, 70 foot, like little bass boat, 17-foot bass boat, sorry. And they were fishing. I got off. The guy with the kayak got off way before me. My buddy showed up, met me out there, and he was like, yeah, there's nothing. He's like, I'm going to go to another place. So he went to another place.
Yep.
And I went in. Once all that snow and rain started and like the gusts started just picking up real like consistent.
Yeah.
And I looked out, I was like, is that boat still out there? And I'm looking, those guys are still out there. they were dedicated way more. They were there before me, and by the time I left, they're still there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's man, it's crazy. It's crazy. So what about your biggest fail out on the water?
Biggest fail.
Like where it just all went to shit.
Probably gonna say that when we did the bomb hot sauce challenge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, I was using I had like the baitcaster spinning rod set up.
Yep.
Throwing it, whatever. Then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I cast it away. I usually don't cast, and I caught the spinning rod on the back side of me, and it just mega burden. I just couldn't get it out.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I think you're like.
I thought you were going to say you like flipped it in the water and cast the rod, like something like that.
No.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, that was the only thing. That setup was like the only one getting bites, catching them, and I just couldn't get it out. And you're like, what happened? Because you were there and you like went by me. You were like probably like maybe like 40 yards from me, and you like were paddling by me, and you're like, wow, it's like just bird nest trying to get it out, couldn't get it out, and you're like, oh, tighten the spool down sometimes, just pull
that's
real hard,
right.
sometimes
Yeah,
it comes
yeah.
out.
And you crank it back that way.
Yeah, I tried that. It just like literally like cinched down.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
yeah, that's no good, man.
Yeah, I had to clip it out.
I'm learning. I think that is not the trick. Like it doesn't work as good as I think it maybe I thought initially, because I'm like, I've tried that myself and I've made it worse, but
it definitely made it worse, because like
I feel bad, dude. That's terrible.
I clipped the line, and then I'm like still trying to like pick it out, and I couldn't get it, so I had to like keep like clipping strands on the spool, so I'm like, dude, my pockets were like full of fishing line.
Yep. Damn,
I was like, that combo's done for the day. I was like, forget it. I'll just use a spinning rod. And then probably like an hour after, I was like, no, I'm going back to the bait caster. I'm using the text rig. Yeah. We got everything out. Got it all through the guide. Hooked up a little bandito bug. And like, I was getting bites, but I just couldn't hook up on it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was probably like bluegills or something, but that was like the worst feel. It was like just that one, and probably like I went pond hopping with the kids one day.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to learn them how to throw a weightless Senko.
Yep.
But they didn't really have like the patience for it. Once they don't get anything after a few minutes with it, they're like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. That's how kids are, They start doing something else and whatnot. And I had a lipless crank, because I had caught one earlier on it, and I was like, yeah, I'm throw that. And I didn't see the tree behind me. It was a pine tree with a long branch sticking out. I didn't see it behind me, and I just like went to the side, went to rip a cast, and all of a sudden I was like, what the hell? I looked at the reel, it was just blown. It just looked like the line was just like a bomb went off. Like foam, just like
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's it. Forget it.
Oh man, that sucks, dude. I mean, it definitely, like I said, it happens to everybody. It's like, backlashes are just a part of life. I guess the real experience comes from, where you learn how to deal with them, and everything else. I think that's the one thing about baitcasters that I feel like a lot of people are afraid of, like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with this. And it's just like, you just keep at it, and that's ultimately it. I will say this though, in that challenge where your baitcaster had made the comeback. So you're saying you went, because you and I were on the same team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the same team. So even with that against you, we still, and me catching nothing that worked for us in the tournament. I only caught a pickerel that day. We still managed to win.
Yeah. So like,
that's what I'm saying.
I
don't know what that says.
We first launched. Yeah. When we first launched my spinning rod, I had a Chapo tied on.
Yep.
So as soon as Bill and Delirious went left, we went right.
Yep.
Hit that little cove on the right and stuff. As soon as casting out the Chapo, get a little small one, so probably 10 inches. That was the first one. Yep. And then as soon as I let that one release, I saw there's a little set of pads, not much, probably a little scattered, little patch.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just saw a big splash. And I was like, ooh. As soon as that splash and I just cast it over there.
Mm-hmm.
And probably 2 seconds after it hit water and I started to reel it, just that fish hit. And that was the biggest one of the day. It was probably 13 inches maybe.
Nice.
That was, and then that was the only two that I caught.
Yeah.
I might have caught one more, but then my phone died, so I couldn't even post it.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah.
And it was funny, even that. I'm stoking the competitive fires for future challenges. And this whole section here is intended for Wild Bill, but I think that's impressive that we
I even charged my phone on the way there. It's obviously I was using it for GPS, so I was battery test. I had it on the charger the whole time. And I could have sworn it was at 80%, and then all of a sudden it just took took like 2 like Instagram stories, and then I went and took a third one. The phone just died. I was like, "What is going on?"
That's
I
crazy.
think actually, I did catch a third one, and I think you had to like come and take a picture of it to like post it up for me.
Maybe might have been that.
And then I got hooked on some rope that was like sticking out of the water.
Yeah, that was interesting. That's awesome, man. That sounds like an absolute shit day. I was just not catching fish, but that sounds like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, because I remember I seen you like one corner, like, yeah, I'm gonna throw the drop shot. I was like, and I was just still like going like weightless, like Texas rig.
Yep.
Throwing like Senko, Bandito bug. Those are like the main 2 that I was throwing that day.
Yeah. You know what? Like, you might have been on something then too, because I don't think I threw anything weightless. I don't even know if I gave a weightless Senko a shot, which is
that's
stupid
all
on
I
my
threw
part.
last year.
Yeah,
that's like basically. I was like, last year, so the year before last year, when I went out, I basically didn't like really catch anything. It was just like bank fishing.
Yeah,
didn't really catch much. And then last year, I was like getting a kayak, and when I was like, no, I'm gonna try like plastics. I'm gonna try a plastic where that's gonna be like dedicated fishing it. And then went out with Bill and Andrew on this lake called Silver Lake, by probably all close to us. And then fishing there. Bill goes there all the time. He's like, yeah, we just fish the right side, fish in the grass. We catch them. Weightless angle, catching them, killing them. So do that all the time. And there's another pond we go to that's like basically our home base pond that we all go to, and you can fish it in like 3 hours, make a full lap around it.
Really?
And you'll catch fish.
Nice. Dude, that's awesome. Well, hey, this was awesome, Joel. I really appreciate it, man. This is a really, really good interview. Do me a favor, take this opportunity and let the listeners know, like, if they want to, follow you on Instagram or anything, any social media you have going. This is your opportunity to kind of promote yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so Facebook's Joel Melendez Jr. from there. Really don't post much like fishing stuff on there, but Instagram, it's Brutus at Brutus17. That's where like all the fishing stuff's like posted and everything. Follow me there. Be on like the Hooks at Hoodlums YouTube page, and then also like their website. So
nice.
We'll have some good videos coming out this year. Good challenges coming out.
Yep.
Or just like good like shooting the shit like while fishing and stuff.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a big year, man. I'm excited for us. I think it's going to be really good. Well, you have a good one, dude. Have a good one. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me on, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, this is really good, man.
I was a little nervous about it, but
no, this is a piece of cake, man. This is easy, and it was a lot of fun too. Awesome, dude. Well, you take care, man. I'll talk to you.
All right, man. See you.
All right, have a good one. What did I tell you guys? Another great episode for you. We've got all kinds of good stuff. We had a good time going over the details of IKE's list of the 3 rods that every angler should own. And it's no surprise. I mean, you don't argue with Mike Iaconelli. You just don't. But the reality of it is he makes some really, really ideal points as to these combos that anglers should use, and pretty good stuff. I enjoy that. So definitely you should check out that video and see what he has for other info on there, because we just kind of went over the surface of like the details of the combos, but he really kind of gets into it really, really well. So go and check that out on his channel. We also talked about all kinds of stuff, safety, and our adventures fishing. There were fish that were caught. Oh, yes, they were caught. We got on them. Though the entire Hooks at Hoodlums fam was really getting on some fish for the most part. I know Rachel Walker got on some pretty good, as did, who else? Well, Cody's a machine. He's been getting on them regularly. The day that'll be a surprise is the day he's just like, didn't get anything today.
The best story was that he went out with some, what should we call them? Party favors.
Yes, he did.
Got on some fish too. So that was
some fungal
there were
favors.
Pictures. There was a video involved in that, which the narration was nothing short of Disney-esque.
That was the best. It really was. Yeah, he's a talented son of a bitch, that guy. He really is.
Yes.
And I should mention this, that if you haven't already, go over to the Hookset Hoodlums YouTube page and check out the newest Fishing for Answers with Jeff Holloway, Big Nasty 186. There's comedic gold in there. First off, we find out exactly what went down regarding two men eating Chinese food in bed together on a fishing trip. We also hear some stories about Ken in grade school that are so funny. Your sides right here are going to be aching from laughing so hard. I noticed that this one episode has an abundance of one-liners that should and probably will end up being thrown in as anecdotes to future Jigs and Bigs episodes as well. So buckle up. We've got a lot happening. There's a lot going on. So go check that out. And I still live, for those that aren't aware. Like in one of the ongoing questions, I am still alive. I cannot believe this. So thank you for allowing me to live. I feel like one of Jerry's kids. It's great.
You've been, mated with, married, and bred, but you haven't been killed. So that's good.
I have not been killed. No, I've been married multiple times. I feel, my God.
You were violated in the backwoods of Maryland. There you go. I got a few things before we go. If you want me to run through them,
let's get into them.
So first off, trivia was exciting Friday.
Trivia was exciting
because my son always comes with me, and he comes for the food. And it's my oldest son, not my youngest. My oldest doesn't fish. So my youngest will fish with me. My oldest, I've always been trying to find something to do with beyond video games, and we both play video games. But he comes out to trivia with us on Friday nights, and he can grab whatever food he wants, and we get to hang out. And the only rule is he can bring his Nintendo Switch, but he can't play it during the game, so he can play in between rounds. And with the fast tracks, automatically putting someone into first place if first through third do not answer the question properly. A video game question came up in the third round. I think it was the first fast track, and he got it, and no one else did. And my son was so excited. All of a sudden, it went to, this is boring. I'm kind of tired. I want to go home to, all right, what do we got here? Let's do this shit.
I'm on this now.
So he ended up finishing fourth, which is his highest finish, and he did really well. That one question catapulted him. It was awesome. So that was a lot of fun. Thanks for always putting that on, man. It was a blast.
No,
thanks for not taking points from me for this week. I didn't argue.
I did the best I could. That was a great game though. It was a whole lot of fun. We had an abundance of I don't know if they were all nurses from one local hospital that had gotten together for like just a night out, a dinner, and they played trivia. They were a hoot. Our music round last week was boy bands, which was just. This is let you guys into the mind of Bobby Roast Beef a little bit. I make a lot of jokes, and I have a dark sense of humor, and I don't hide that. I let it be my freak flag, and I let it fly high. And I actually made a suicide joke after playing a song by 5 Seconds of Summer. I think it was 5 Seconds of Summer, the song "Hey Everybody," and it's just such an obnoxious song. And I said to the crowd, I said, if you ever hear there's a headline that Bobby Roast Beef's body was found in like a hotel bathroom, seemingly he had offed himself, know that this was the song that was playing in the background when I just made that decision. That was that was the song I went out to. And I got good laughs. I got really, really, really good laughs. It was good.
They were nervous laughs.
They were. But some of those folks definitely know me, and they get it. They definitely get it. So good stuff, man. It was a good week all around for trivia. One thing I do want to mention, that we forgot to mention earlier, and it's just because we're old hippies, but good friend of the show, Nate Shagnon, had one hell of a goddamn weekend, man. Holy cow, Nate.
How did we find? Well, you know what? I think it's all right we didn't mention that because he actually put off his recording.
Yeah, he did.
Just after this event, just in case something like this happens.
Just to talk about it. Yep.
I think that's an excellent teaser.
Yeah.
Congrats, Nate. He did a fucking phenomenal job.
You made Mass proud, buddy.
Kicked ass.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm going to just go ahead and say this, that our homie Nate Shagnon was in Alabama, and, he delivered the donkeys, if you will. He delivered the donkeys is what he did. It was good for you, Nate. So we'll be talking. We're actually recording with him. Is it later this week or next week? It's coming up. Let me look at the schedule right here. It's Wednesday. We're recording Wednesday. So it'll be a few weeks before we go on, but we're going to definitely be talking a lot about his last tournament and how that turned out. Like, this was one of these things where he would post something on Instagram, and then in the Hookset Hoodlums Pro Staffers group chat, there was just, are you guys seeing this? Holy cow, this is awesome. Go, Nate. And everybody's just rallying for him. It's so cool. And that's the thing what I love about it. Like, that's some of the great stuff that the internet can do. In technology. Like, it can get you this news of, like, these really cool things that are happening to people you care about that are, like, just freaking awesome. So we'll have him on the show very, very soon. I think he is, I think we're like 2 or 3 weeks out, but there's going to be good stuff. I may bump that one up, too, just to kind of see how things work. But I'm psyched, man.
Exactly. With your internet analogy, I mean, you and I were texting the whole day. I was following him on Fishing Chaos, and I think I even made the analogy, like, this is one of those situations where a pitcher's throwing a no-hitter and you don't say shit to him until the last out. And I didn't text Nate. I didn't call him. We just waited and watched, and he came through pretty big. So good for Nate, and it was awesome.
That's huge. That is definitely huge.
One minor note. I took I don't know how long it took me, maybe an hour yesterday. I decorated my kayak, my new Slayer.
Nice.
From Three Bells, and I had stickers to put all over that thing. I kind of limited it because with the hull issues that went on a few weeks ago during the loading process, I didn't want to go overboard. Some of the family, the Jigs and Bigs family that has stickers, I only have one of or two of, and I didn't want to slap these on and then get a call from Native in a month and say, "Hey, we got your new hull."
Yeah.
So I was kind of chintzy about what I put on there. I made sure the Three Bells stickers were on there. Obviously, a Jigs and Bigs. I had a handful of stretching lines, so that one's on there. And what else did I throw? I threw something else on there. I think that's it. So for all the family, I'm not repping on the kayak. I apologize. I don't want to lose the few stickers I have when something permanent might be coming in. So what can I do?
And that's why I have I've made the decision when it comes to decorating my kayak that I'm going to be going hog wild with stickers on the Ascend. And because I'm not sure what I'll be using for a boat. So like it's funny as you're talking about stickers. I got 2 of these from Largemouth Sass, a speckled trout and a largemouth that I've been holding for months. But they're black, and they'll look great on the Ascend because the Ascend is white. But I'm not sure. Like, I haven't put these on my truck because my windows are really dark. And I'm going to wait. I also, because I don't want to put one of these on my truck and then trade that sucker in 3 or 6 months or whatever. So that's one of the reasons why one of these is hanging on.
And I'm encountering a different problem with my truck. Yeah. It's a great problem to have. I didn't realize when I bought it that it was just one of the features I overlooked because I was looking for certain things. And my back window rolls down and will eventually get ripped off. So I don't know what to do. I'm not putting them on the metal. There's no way of that happening. So I have to figure out how to display these things. And I think, things will become clearer once. Yeah, I say I've got a bunch of Delirious. I don't want to put them on the boat that I might be losing, and I don't want to rip them off the back window. So I'm kind of in a quandary here.
Now,
I'll figure out something.
Are you one of those where now this is a real personal thing too, and like I think there's no right or wrong answer. Are you one of those where stickers go on glass and that's it, or will you put them on the body of the car?
I will not put them on the body of the car.
See, I'll put them on the body of the car. Yeah. Just because I have a really good one that I really can't wait to put on, but I don't know the best location for it. I think it is white, but it says Punk Rock Fishing, and it's just one of these I got from Megan from Largemouth Sass as well. And I'm like, I gotta find the perfect spot for this, the absolute perfect spot.
Yeah.
So good.
So that's where I'm at. So there's 2 things. Now I want to bring up something nasty. I should have brought this up earlier.
Okay.
With tournament directing.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, obviously the rules are a lot looser with lures. Obviously follow your state laws. All right. Because I can't enforce somebody who's fishing in Wyoming and breaking a know that you are. Yep. I'm only going to see pictures of fish. But for the other tournaments I'm directing, there are rules. All right. If you break a rule, let's say with a lure, and you really want to get that lure company's attention, might not be a good idea to say, hey, I caught this fish in a tournament on a lure that may violate a state law.
Yeah.
How about we use some common sense? Because I can't say exactly what's going to happen. You should read the rules that say if you get caught breaking state laws, these things can happen. But if you say and advertise that you're breaking a law in a tournament that I'm directing, I'm going to have to start asking you questions. I don't want to ask those questions. So bottom line, follow the laws. And there's a lot of them, which sucks.
Yep.
But yeah, I hope that didn't come off as a threat. I don't want to deal with shit.
I mean, really what it gets down to is that you got to figure out what the hell is, more important to you, the tournament or maybe 10% off an inflated price anyway. I mean,
exactly.
It's like,
you got to know what lures and what types of lures you can use in each state. You've heard my rants on the lead before, so lead's not legal in Massachusetts.
Alabama rigs in Mass.
Can't throw an Alabama rig. I look at it this way: the laws are there. Are we picking and choosing the laws? Are you going to fish now in one of my tournaments without a fucking license? I mean, how far are we going with this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like paying
you need
license fees, especially
to go fishing.
Yeah, well, especially since they're going up. It's a law.
It's true.
I don't know. So yeah, just don't advertise it. If you do, it's going to lead to questions and things are going to go shitty for everyone involved because I don't want to do that. Just follow the laws. I don't know why this is so fucking hard.
Yeah.
That's my second rant of the day.
In my mind, I'm seeing that old NBC CGI graphic of the rainbow. The more you know, it's.
And then it fades to black, and then it shows a picture of me sitting in front of a computer screen in my nerd room, and then just my face going like this. What the fuck? And I pick up the phone. Hey, what are you doing? I'll be over at your house in 10 minutes with a fucking magnet. We're going to see what lead you got and what lead you don't, asshole. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know what to say. That's all I got.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No, I think that about covers it for everything I've got. I mean, we got a great interview in this show. We've got a whole lot of good topics that we covered. Fishing adventures, that's the greatest. Like when we each come to the table with like different sort of stories about what we've done as far as getting out to fish. That's amazing. That is really, really amazing. So, also, I'm going to be reaching out soon to Derek over at Angler to get an interview put together with them because there's a lot of really cool stuff in that app, and I'd like to kind of share some of that with folks that are listening to this show. So, I mean, when I say some cool stuff, like is it later this week? I think it's this weekend. There's a challenge, an angler challenge, where I've got some followers. I think Roadkill Nick Rodney's in there. Some of the people I've connected with through the show that are on the Angler app as well. And it's kind of like a little mini tournament. It's like set between certain dates. You just have to enter fish and, enter your catches. And it's not even by length or weight or maximum inches or anything. It's number of catches overall. So it's pretty simple. It's just pretty cool. I was like, I'm really excited about this. So awesome. I figured I'd just try it out as like a sample and figure it all out, but I'm really loving it. So I'm hoping to have Angler on soon so we can kind of talk about this because me in technology. I'm all about it.
You love it. And you know what? One other thing we talked about it right before we went on air, and I don't know why neither of us brought it up. Now that we're getting into the swing of spring fishing, I mean, I have 3 or 4 outings planned this week.
Yep.
People are probably wondering, where's the fishing report, Sean? Sean the fisherman, where's the fishing report? Well, we have some behind the scenes shit going on with the fishing report. Mm-hmm. Bear with us.
We'll be
back. It might have a different view to it. Mm-hmm. We are working on something big, and there's more to come on that. So if you don't get one this week, next week, just relax.
Yep.
We're working on it.
Yep.
And I'm not going to do one until
we get things ironed out. Yeah.
Our plans come to fruition.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's enough of a teaser, and you'll hear more about that in the coming weeks. But we are the fishing report is not dead.
I love that. It's going to be good stuff. Andy Quinn jumps in and says, leg drop. Indeed, my friend. So, guys, Take good care of yourselves. Have yourself a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday for another episode of Jigs and Bigs. We got good stuff going on. Tournament season is underway. The fish are biting. The weather is supposed to be pretty good. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain this week, but temps are supposed to be up there. So that water temp is going to be climbing. And as that happens, it's going to get better and better and better up on this little line of latitude that we have in our section of the country. That pre-spawn is a few weeks away, but when it hits, it's hitting good. It's going to be really good. So take care of yourselves, guys. Have yourselves a great one. Remember, please review and rate our show on whatever platform it is that you're listening to us on. And help us get to 10K. Help us get to 10K in April. That's the goal. We want to get to 10K on Instagram. Share with your friends. Get all your friends to come out and follow us. We appreciate you guys more than you know. Could not do this show without you. It wouldn't be a show. This would just be two angry guys arguing in a Denny's. Otherwise, it's basically what this would be. Two angry fishermen complaining about lead laws and PFDs at a Denny's, medicated from grandpa's sleepy tonic. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what it would be. Thank you guys. Have yourselves a great one. We'll see you in a week. Like I always say,
Tide line.